Hey everyone. Let us know if you can hear me okay in the chat. Hopefully all the audio and everything's working. It is Synth Geekery episode 225. I always have to check the number because it just keeps growing. Welcome. It's nice. It's a Saturday. It's about 9 p.m. here. We're streaming from sunny Western Australia in a little town called Perth. Hope you know it. If you don't, tell us where you're from in the chat. Jump in. The chatties are growing slowly. There's a few people. It's about 1 o'clock in the UK, I believe, and it's about 6. Is it 6 a.m. Andy? Your part of the world?
5 a.m.
It's 5 a.m. Oh, this is the nasty part of the wedge now. I'm sorry, mate.
That's dedication. That's
I
dedication.
am sorry. Yeah, it's terrible. Why can't they just leave clocks alone? Anyway, we've got a big show this week, as we always do. There's a lot going on. There's quite a few products that have come out, which is probably a little bit better than last week. Last week was a bit quiet on the gear side. So we've got some news to talk about. I'm sure you guys have been watching other YouTube videos about some of the gear that's come out during the week, and we're going to probably add some of our flavor to some of those discussions. So stick around for that. We do have a Name That Synth entry this week, so make sure you stick around for that. I know people do look out for that segment, and they get disappointed when there's not one. Well, there is, and so stick around for that. And there's some amazing memes that we're going to cover in Funny Side. So do check out. Now, pinned in the top of the chat is the StreamYard connection. It's up and running. You guys can jump in whenever you want. I always forget what button it is. It's one of these buttons here. I think it's this one. There it is there. So jump into StreamYard. If you don't want to show your face, just want to use your voice, that is completely fine. There's about 5 spots left right now. So jump in, check it out. I'm going to say good day to everybody who's here. StreamYard's going to be below, and actually there's nobody in there right now. Let's see. Nope. StreamYard's empty. Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hello.
Good day.
Greetings.
While StreamYard's empty, we can go to this view. Vroom. There we go.
Ooh.
That'll keep us
It's
looking
a
a little
story
bit.
about a man named Brady.
Yeah, it's the old view. If StreamYard populates, we'll go back to the other one. All right. Let's start with saying hello to Darren. How are you, mate?
Good day. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Keep going.
That's good. Keep going.
Yeah, keep
and
going.
the sun's out. That's why you can actually see me. I'm not in the dark. I'm not having to put the lights on. It's a bit cool, I must admit, but it is winter, I suppose, or at least we're getting there. So
almost.
Yeah. What have I been doing? I think you were going to ask me. If not, I'll tell you anyway. I've been writing. Blackout live set for next year, and I'm faffing about with my live rig. I'm going to call it 1.5 because I think 2 will be a little bit later, so I might end up using the 1.5 rig for me live 200 set, which I played at Blackpool last time. It's a live 200, and then I'm also writing live Blackout set, which is another hour set.
What's Blackout, Darren?
It's just the name of the set.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. I thought it was a gig or festival.
No, well, it's going to be like, it's my live set of Blackout, because each of my sets are going to have names, so I know which I can play.
Right. Oh, that's a good idea.
Last one that I played at So the last one I played at Blackpool is the live 200, because I know that set's an hour long, and the 200 refers to something in the set, so I know that's that set. And then I'll have the live Blackout set, which is another hour long, but it'll be still in the same vein, but it might be a bit more up tempo or even more banging. So I can switch between the 2 live sets that are both hour, maybe an hour and a half each. So I can switch between the 2 live sets then. So you could go to one gig, play a live 200, go to another gig, play a live Blackout, and also jump in between those sets. So it'll be quite complex.
Yeah, it's good though.
So that's basically what I've been doing. I'm waiting for an item to arrive. It's not any synth orientated. It's just to build this live rig that I'm doing, because as I put on Facebook, when you have plans on paper, it looks great, but when you actually try to put them into reality, it doesn't quite work as you intended. So things didn't quite go as planned. So I'm having to do welding, soldering, and everything.
Oh,
But other than
I
that,
saw the
things
thing
are
about
great.
welding.
Oh,
Welding
scary.
Welding and soldering.
Yeah,
Weldering.
welding.
You don't have to wear welding
and
goggles to do soldering, by the way, Darren. Just letting you know.
Oh God, I had all my gloves and everything in the welding gear, and I thought
You
this
should have rocked
soldering
up on the show with
malarkey
that,
doesn't
mate.
seem
Yeah,
to have
that'd
all
be
that. Only putting two little bits of solder. Why do you need all this kit on?
Beautiful.
So
All right.
yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing.
Sounds excellent, mate. Sounds excellent. Well, it's keeping you busy, isn't it?
It's keeping busy, but I've not had a chance
whinging.
to do. Is it whinging? Why?
I don't know.
What?
It's
Because of me
whinging.
soldering?
It's just whinging. It's always whinging. I don't know what's wrong with it. Well, good luck with that. That's awesome. Who's next?
I'll need it.
Edie's there at 5 a.m.
Hey,
Oh,
yes,
mate.
Andy.
I look like death warmed over. Yeah, it's great.
I've made you an espresso, and I'm handing it.
You look better than me at 5
Thank
o'clock
you.
in the morning, I can tell you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. So it's always worth it. I always sleep afterwards, so not a worry. Nothing really new this week. I did get this eventually. I don't know if you guys saw any of my streams of this, but the Radiophonic One,
Nice.
suit and tie guy.
Yeah.
So quite wonderful. It's got that great VCS3 Sea Devils filter.
Mm.
And amazing. You have the envelope generator, right, Ranzee?
I do, but I don't have it out at the moment. Yeah.
It's a crazy envelope generator.
It is,
It does so
isn't it?
much. It's nuts. Yeah.
I actually want the filter though because it really whistles. That filter.
Filter's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good. And this slicer mod that he has, SLC,
Oh yeah, I
that
forgot about that.
does that kind of wave folding and stuff.
Yeah, that's actually really
yeah,
cool.
it's really cool. So I mean, when you figure out how much each individual module costs, and then how much it costs in this little boat configuration, and then how much it was on sale, it's like holy shit. It's like
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
great
no-brainer.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was tempted,
So,
but I just didn't have the dosh.
And then I know you're going to talk about the new thing from these guys later.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
looking forward to that. So
Yeah.
I'm way behind on my noise members. I have a bunch that I recorded but didn't get to upload yet, so I need to catch up on that. So
Awesome.
I only got like 5 or 6 done, and what is it, the 11th today? So yeah, I have some work to do.
Wow. Okay.
That's about it.
Keep you busy. Awesome.
Well, I've never done one of those monthly, everyday things before.
Yeah.
And I said I'll give it a shot, and then a bunch of shit got in the way.
Yeah, it
so
takes a
it's
bit
like,
of
oh, well.
work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to limit to like 3 or 4 minutes a day, and that's pretty quick. But still, you got to put stuff together, figure out a little something that's not just the same crap over and over again. And so that's the challenge, I think, is to make it somewhat interesting. My first one was an Osmos thing. It went on for like 20 minutes. I went, oh, that was too long.
You can get lost on those things, to be fair.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
good
man.
stuff.
Awesome.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah, you too. All right, Ian. Hello,
You
mate.
too.
How's your week,
Good,
mate?
good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night. So what have I doing this week? I've been started work on mastering a 40-year-old album, which will be out before Christmas. I need to clean it up as well, which is a bit of a pain. And what else have I been? I've been repairing a djembe. Going to reskin that thing.
Oh, nice. Got to chase a pig for
I
that
was
first.
gifted. And well, I've had to order some goat skin.
Oh, goat skin. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chase a goat then.
I need to redo my
And
talking
well,
drum
actually,
that fell apart.
Yeah, when I took the old skin off, there was all the hair on the outside from the goat, which is a bit there. I've been
Hair of
playing
a
with this quite a bit, actually. I'm really getting into that now.
Yeah.
There's a really good editor which I found for £6, and it's by jimdovefree.com, and it makes it so much easier to work with, really, than all the menu diving stuff. So I've been playing with that. I built that finally.
Yay.
I'm going to use it as an effects processor, really. And I updated my operating system so that I could get the Logic Pro update, which took its time. That's about it, really, for the week.
Awesome.
Ian, that
Oh,
editor,
your album's going to be out. Sorry, yeah.
that the editor is it?
Go, Darren.
Is it on? Oh, is it on OS? Is it on? Is it an app or is it for the Mac? You know, is it
It's
for
for
like
Mac
use it on
or,
iPad or anything?
or Windows. I don't know if it's got a version. There might be a version for iOS, but it's certainly Mac and Windows. And like I say, the installs are a bit slightly awkward because you have to follow his instructions because it's not straightforward. But once it's installed, it's a standalone app and it will work with any DAW. I've got it in Reaper and I've installed it into Logic. I haven't used those. I've just been using the standalone, and it's messing around and saving patches and stuff. But it's I haven't done that much with this since I got it, and I thought, well, actually, about time I should do something with it. But it's revolutionised.
Of course, Roland could have made one available, couldn't they? Obviously,
exactly. Roland should have made one, and they should have given it when they launched it, but they didn't do that. And actually, this guy's got loads of other stuff.
Scrooge.
He's done all sorts of them. So his website's definitely worth a look.
Okay, cool.
In fact, I had to email him about something about presets, and he came straight back with the with the result because But really, I think he's Momo Miller was his email address, but the website's jimdofree.com. Check him out; it's good.
Chuck it into the. Oh, actually, you can't.
I can't, can I?
Send it to me, and I'll chuck it into the chat.
Right, we'll do.
Yeah, yep. And you were saying something about albums or something before, Darren?
Oh yeah. Your album has been released, or will be released on the 24th of this month, according to the Orchard. So everything's gone through okay. So happy days.
Cool, awesome. So that's the Gates album. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. 24th is about a fortnight away. Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
fantastic. Thanks, Ian.
I need to try and do some promotion.
Chris is here. Hello, Chris.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's safe and well. I've had one of my typical weeks where I did way too much non-music things, but that's what you get for working a 9-to-5 job, I guess. But I did get some time I did get some Raspberry Pis, so I now got lots of Raspberry Pis, and I'm sort of closely following Ranzee's experiments with DexEd and whatnots, and experimenting with things there. So that was quite good. I spent money today. It's Black Friday, and Fonk started their sale. So I picked up a Music Thing modular Turing machine Mark II.
Yeah, they're good.
The black panel. Because apparently you need one of those to get into the entrance club for DIY. And I picked up something else. That was going on the cheap as well. It's an NOH modular cycles, which is a 4 LFOs in a 8 HP with some interesting stuff to do with combining them into a 4-bit DAC. They're free running, they're not syncing, so it's not the kind of thing I'll be using for synced up to the track or something. This will be more for KAOSS-y, perhaps slow evolving stuff, which I guess kind of goes with the Music Thing modular device as well, because that kind of lends itself in that sort of ambient direction. So got a couple of those things coming to be constructed. I got some parts because the sale's on, so I have to get some parts from Fonk because that saves me quite a bit of money. Other than that, my PCBs are coming next week. So there will be my first look at my next module there for me, and I ordered parts today for the next module as well. So that's pretty much what my whole week's been. I did a bit of sample editing, which I've forgotten how much I love nerding out on sample editing. I was in SoundForge. I was editing a whole lot of drum samples that I'd recorded from the Moog Subfatty, preparing them for putting in all the many different multitudes of samplers and stuff that I've got because I like to have the same packs in various different devices. So I find it quite handy. So I had a lot of fun doing that. Lost an hour just playing around with samples, going, I've forgotten how much fun this stuff is. So yeah. So apart from that, that's pretty much been it.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Awesome. Now I've just chucked into the chat the link to the thing that Ian was talking about, the editor. The editor is the word I'm looking for.
I've just looked on the website, and actually they do have iOS versions of a lot of his editors. So there will be there is an iOS version of this.
So this is it.
Cool.
That's quite cool.
So it's $7 US.
Yeah.
6 bits euros. 6.
He's done
something.
loads. I mean, there's
Roland as iOS editor.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Now, which button is? Hey, I got the button right. Okay. Cool. And no one's in StreamYard yet, so don't forget, guys. That link is it's pinned in the chat if you want to join us in Stream. I know people are busy. I know. I get it. But someone might want to just chuck their head in there for a bit. That's cool. We are going to get into.
It's one cut Wagyu. He's on about my sign.
I keep getting.
And
you go.
I was just going to say it's a district of Hong Kong where they sell lots of electronic stuff.
Okay. Yes. There's been a fair bit floating around the world, let me tell you, since those chip factories have been starting to punch some stuff out. That's for sure. So whoever's making chips, they'll be making lots of money right now for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, and we're going to say hello to the chatties. Nice to have all of you here. I don't know why that's popped back in there. Anyway, okay. I've got this little thing. I know you guys were complaining last week that it was like timing out this chat window. So unfortunately, if I do reload the page, it's going to have that grey welcome to the chat banner every single time. But I feel like every time I go to the window, if I make the vMix thing reload the page, like if I go out of it and I go back into it, boom, CC out, pop down the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at least it'll refresh the chat, and we'll always have the latest chat. Anyway, speaking of chatties, it's nice to have everyone here.
Yes,
let's say hello to Homegrown and Wagyu. Nice to have you guys. Kissing the Machine, of course. And we've also got Matt Brown. Nice to have you guys. Tracker Jack, Macro Dozed. Nice to have you guys. And Failed Muso, Robbie Puricelli's there. Nice to have you. And JP Page 2. And Hendrix there, JX3D, one of our channel members. And also, he's on the show quite a lot. I think he's got a show coming up soon. So you should check out his channel too. Click on his name. It takes you to his channel. Who else? There's lots of talking. And I've got to scroll. Geert's there. Nice to have you, mate. I'm pretty sure I saw David and who else? Cresshead, Steve's there. Nice to have you. Kosh Dukai, nice to have you. Who else has popped in? I know it's a different time, so you guys are going to have to start getting used to changing your times. But this is what happens when you guys keep telling farmers that wallpaper fades and things like that. That's why you need daylight savings. Culture of Ghosts is there. There you go. Just pops in just at the last crack. Beautiful. All right, awesome. We shall keep going with the show, starting with our regular segments. Hopefully this button works. It did. Good. Geez, those memes are getting old on that little stinger. Anyway, let's get into it. Useful functionalities of a synth, and PWM seems to be holding everything up there.
Very Jenga.
Very, very... well, Nick probably would have approved this meme. Nick Bat, that is. Cool. I'm still getting warnings from YouTube. Let us know in the chat if it's stuttering or anything, because like YouTube, I don't know what it is. It's not my end. Like, there's plenty of data down here. But anyway, let's keep going. I still haven't found what I'm looking for, says Bono.
Yeah.
Could it because we...
Oh, man.
Don't get too close to the edge. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This is like
very
bad joke
dead
central.
Yes.
Bad joke central. I thought it was
It's a dad comic. No.
Yeah. Next. This one Robbie sent in. The D-Exorcist.
I saw that. That's a good one. Yeah.
He didn't ring the doorbell. He brought his own. Robbie, I didn't know you. I didn't know you wore hats. That's a great one. That one, that almost wins the internet. That one, that's fantastic. It's probably one of the best memes I've seen all year. Here we go.
Yes, quite.
Yes, if you're into Elektron gear, right now you can have your new one not and pay more for it.
Sigh.
Yep. How stupid is the world? This stupid. And if we keep going with this idea, then there's this.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now, let me tell you that these memes are going to be related to the rest of the show coming up, so they are topical for sure. But before I get my head ripped off, please tell us what your favorite meme was this week. Yay, look, I did it. Let us know in chat what your favorite meme was.
Yeah,
DX.
D-Exorcist has to be, right? Has to be the winner.
Well executed and well punned.
Yeah. Now, has everyone seen that new... Is it Russell Crowe? There's a new movie that I think it was on... was it on Amazon Prime or... I don't know what you call it.
Oh, where he's the
Exorcist.
the super yeah.
Oh.
There's no DX.
Yeah, because
he's claiming it's based on a real story. It's like, come on.
No, it's not. It's not.
So I know they bought the franchise of the Exorcist franchise, and there's going to be 3 movies or 4 movies in total. Apparently, it's terrible, but I've not seen it. So
yeah. Well, this was a bit okay, but a bit cheesy. But it was entertaining. I mean, it's if you're bored and you've got nothing to do, you could watch that. You probably
you're better off watching Machine Gun Preacher.
Well, there's been a couple of good ones.
That sounds classy.
Yeah. What's that one where
I watched Jared Butler's Plane. That was a popcorn movie if ever I saw one.
Don't Breathe
great,
2 was pretty good, I thought. Don't Breathe. The first one was good, and Don't Breathe 2 was pretty good, I thought. So yeah, if you like those sort of gory thrillers where people get shot and killed and stuff like that, and you got no kids around, watch that. But yeah. Romper Stomper, wow. Jeez, that's gone back.
I remember that.
It's gone back.
Romper Stomper was a
Romper
great
Stomper, that had Eric Banner in it, and he played...
It did.
He played the... Eric Banner, by the way, if you don't know who he is, he's another Australian actor, but technically Russell Crowe is...
He was the first Hulk.
A New Zealander.
Yeah.
But he was the first first Hulk. But yeah.
My friend was such a fan of that Romper Stomper movie, he got that horrible tattoo down his arm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Each to their own.
What were we
Good
doing?
film.
Oh, that's right. We're doing a synth show.
Yeah.
Okay, so I looked at, by the way,
Well, films I've seen, so
it looks like the DX7, the D-Exorcist did win this week. Okay. So let's keep going with this and talk about what's been coming out of these factories and goodness me. Starting with this one, Starting with this one. Look, it's been all over everywhere. So I know you guys have probably seen this to death. You're probably going to see this video to death coming up. I don't apologize for it, but it gives us an opportunity to refresh our memories and have a chat about it. In fact, let's have a look at the video, starting with this button. Hopefully it works. always love to listen to what a company kind of feels like the sound should sound like coming out of one of their new products. And it just sounds like you've just hit the demo button on the latest Rompler synth that you've just bought. Sorry, Korg, but that was like the most shocking.
Generic.
I mean,
Very,
if
very
people are
generic.
going to be using a KAOSS pad, it's certainly not going to sound anything like that. That's for sure. But I mean, it's probably corporate. It's probably marketing. I get it. I know. If anyone actually loved it, sorry if I've just hurt your feelings. Bad luck. Anyway, let's talk about this. There's a few photos I've got here that we can sort of rotate through. We've got the front top view. This kind of, you can see the connections on the front there with the USB, the headphones, and the microphone input. Now, the microphone input is not phantom voltage. It does have an amp in it though, and if you watch the Loop Hop video, I actually put one of those Shure mics through it, which are pretty quiet by general speaking, and it actually came out fairly decent. On the back, I think there's the back photo. There's a little bit of connectivity on the back as well. So yeah,
That's the front, is it?
that's the front. Where's the back?
Yeah.
I don't have the back. Oops, took the
The
wrong
back's
photo.
RCA, isn't it?
He's got-
MIDI
he's-
in.
He's
Yeah.
got 4 eyes and his mouth is open
Oops.
at me.
Let's keep going. Right, so what do you guys want to talk about this? KAOSS replay
Ian's
sampler.
got to say. Ian.
Okay, I've got something to say. Have I got something to say? As the Korg dealer at the moment, I think I first saw it and I didn't know the price. So I watched Loop Hop's video and I thought this is really cool. Then I was scrabbling because I didn't get any notification from Korg. I've fallen off their email list, which is fine. Its UK recommended price is $949.
Wow.
I know that some people have seen it around at over 1,000. That's the price, and that includes VAT. That will be the price here in the UK. There'll be a street price which will be cheaper than that, but even at those sort of prices, I think it's ridiculous. You know,
That's when I fell off the
now-
seat.
I think everyone.
yeah, I mean, 500-600 quid would be about right, probably for this. I think it's definitely aimed at the DJ market because I've just gone into the Korg dealer portal and it's under dance and DJ, so that's where they're aiming it. You know,
That's telling, isn't
yeah. I just think whoever is pricing it, and it's not just this product, but who is pricing Korg products at the moment, they need to sort themselves out because, you know, people haven't got that much disposable income to buy stuff like this all the time. You know, it's not good value, and I will not be stocking it. I mean, what will happen is that our dealer agreement will come up again probably next month or maybe January. I can't quite remember where it is, and they will specify what they want us to stock. And I think at that point I'll be closing the account, if I'm honest, because I wouldn't be able to sell this really because I can't demonstrate it because we're an online shop. So I'm, you know, there. I mean, in comparison, I think that is really, really good value. You know, it's a really great little synth with a great effects. I'm going to use it as an effects processor.
Yep.
And, you know, it's brilliant for less than 100 quid. It's great, you know. So I think Korg will bounce back. It might take them a while. The stuff they're putting out at the moment, price-wise, is not necessarily where we should be, I think.
Yeah.
You know. And this isn't up against an SB404.
They're hooking onto the inflation bandwagon, I think, just like every other company and grocery store and government is, which is just ludicrous. There's no reason for it. People stop doing it. Stop hacking your prices up just to make a profit and then using some.
But they claim the chips are back, but
I
they're
mean,
more expensive.
A good example is the reissue of the Korg 700 FS, right? Was nearly $2,000 when it came out, and it's $1,500 now. I think you'll find it in shops because they have discounted it. They've discounted it to dealers.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I thought the SQ64 was overpriced when that came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
And eventually it did get reduced. It was a long time down the track, but it did get reduced. And then I bought one because it was kind of, okay, that's a price I can. So that this will probably happen again with this, I reckon.
It will, because not only Korg, but all companies will sell at the maximum price that they think they can sell it at.
Yep.
And then they'll drop the price to dealers.
They'll milk it for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, clearly, with the 700FS, it was a year, really. They expected to sell out completely because it's a limited edition. They clearly haven't because everybody's got stock. So, this will come down in price at some point. But
let's talk about a couple of the. I think there's a couple of disappointing parts of it, though. So, for a start, if we go back to the photo, okay, so what this is this is not going to be an MPC or a. I mean, really, it's not even an SP404. To be fair,
it's a clip launcher, right?
I mean, at the end, and the thing is, it doesn't even do anything other than 4x4, bar beats. So like, it's not even flexible with that. And there's some kind of weird things with, with looping. The looper on it doesn't, let you set, certain start and stop syncing.
There's no crossfade areas. You can't cross.
There's no envelope on the clip launching. There's lots and lots of things that they've gapingly left off of this product that you would think, like banking on Ian's point, $1,000 US plus product would definitely, should have. It's almost like they haven't finished this, and they're just waiting for us to tell them a whole bunch of, hey guys, you forgot about, and here's the list, and I just don't think companies should be doing stuff like that.
When you start looking at it, comparing the price to anything, I looked at it and I thought, this was when I first seen it, and I thought, quite like, because I always went to a KAOSS pad, the second one, which is discontinued ages ago.
The KP3.
And I seen it and thought, this might be interesting for live. And I thought, and then the more I looked into it, I thought, it's all right. And then when I seen the price and fell off the chair and eventually got up after nearly breaking my neck, I thought, I don't think so. I mean, when you think, like you said, Ranz, you can literally get an MPC Live 2 for pretty much the same price.
Or an MPC 1 even.
I know it's not the same thing, but Jesus, it's like, I was expecting 500 max, and then went.
But Darren,
and then when I watched Lou Pop's video and found that it's missing so much.
Darren,
and it's DJ straight away.
If you were getting this, Darren, if you were getting this, right, would you expect it to do more than one effect? This thing can only do one effect at a time. I mean, that's ludicrous.
Well, that's what I was hoping for when I first looked at it. When I first seen it, when I seen it on screen, I thought, they've updated the KAOSS pad, they're really cool, and it's going to be really good this now. And then when you look at it, it's like, what have they done? And why have they done it? And then obviously you see the price. I know we always bang on about price, but there's been dear and expensive, but then there's been dear and expensive for not what you're getting. There's a big difference. I mean,
the trifecta.
I can't believe it.
What? Are we going to call it a bit of a fail?
I'm a bit like Ian. I mean, it's just like put your hand in it. You put your
FLOP.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, FLOP. Fail.
Epic fail.
Well, what they should have done is made it a KAOSS or KAOSS Pad Quad. You ever use one of those?
Yeah, I just sold mine a few months back.
I bought one a while ago. I forgot where I put it, but you have the 4 different color dots, so you have 4 different modes. This has 4 dots, but they're all the same color, so it's like, it's just one effect.
Well, they've got that screen, haven't they, Andy? That's a really good screen on there, but they're just not using it. There's nothing
silly,
on there.
It's very silly.
It is crazy. So I think
there's. I mean, I have to say, I like the.
It's not a decent sound. It's not a decent effects thing. It's what is it?
I like the little budget KAOSS pad that they did, because they got the KAOSSilator, which is obviously the synth, which I had a Mark 1 of that.
Plastic
mini KPs are great.
Yeah. And the Mark II seems to be, it's not discontinued, but it's not on the dealer profiles, so we can't order them at the moment. And neither can you order the KAOSS pad. And I've got one of the little red one, the red backed one.
Yeah,
That's a
Rant's
really, really good little effects processor with, battery
and
operated
it records
effects
too. You
processor
can put
with a
SD card in there. You can record
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, you can.
If they're streaming
Yeah.
off of the SD, which they said they are, then it's not taxing the CPU at all. It's literally just buffering, streaming the audio through. They must have really gone skimpy on that CPU in that thing for it to only be able to do one effect. There's 128 effects in that machine, and you can only play one at a time.
Yeah.
And that's ludicrous. I mean, for a DJ thing, it literally is a one-trick pony. It pull your clip in and put it through one effect. That's just.
I mean, you have those axes. At least get 2 effects to play with, right? So
yeah. I mean, maybe in the year 1998, that would have been a cool thing.
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Rance. I reckon. There's nothing forward thinking in this offering from Korg. There you go. I said it. It's really weird. It's like this was pulled off the production line, having been started 5 years ago. And someone said, we're going to put this and this and this together. And they've come away and they've come, oh, there's that thing we haven't done anything. How much have we spent on this? How many engineers? How many marketers? I'll send it to the marketing department, but they won't be happy. And the price is pretty much, I think the price is pretty much the expression of marketing's unhappiness, or at least the accountant's unhappiness. They can't get away with selling it for much cheaper than this. They've obviously invested a lot of people, but it hasn't been one of those successful cooperatives that we sometimes see. And Ian just mentioned that the little NT1, which is sort of the domain of sort of mainly one engineer, sort of one person's vision in Korg. I mean, I know there's a lot of other people behind the scenes involved, but it's very much like, here's your pet project, mate. Go away and do something. We're not going to give you a heap of money. Just do it on your own time, kind of thing. What if you come back? It's fine. It's experimental. And what's come out of it? Something that actually people like. Whereas this looks to be the complete opposite. This is the one where they got all the bigwigs, all the top people, and they said, right, we're going to make the next big thing. We're going to take all of these successful ingredients that we've had in the past. We're going to take this, we're going to take this, and this, and we're going to put it together, and we're going to make it DJ friendly. Let's start rolling in the dollars.
The DJ market is playing on it completely.
Yeah,
and in the mix, next to some expensive Pioneer at the same price mixer, they'll have them either side. This won't be able to do much. The mixer will be able to do more than the flipping KAOSS pad.
That's the thing, they missed the boat on
$120
what
mixer.
they think drives their sales.
Darren, you're on the money, mate. Mate, you can just bring a laptop. You can get a laptop cheaper than that. Seriously,
you can.
Really it's like from a parallel universe.
Get an iPad cheaper than
it's
that.
Korg from parallel. Oh no, the timeline's across.
Yeah, a couple of iPads.
I mean, a big iPad.
Get one of them. Get a laptop. Job done.
Yeah.
Idiots. Right. Let's go next. Sorry, Korg, but
well done, Korg.
Floppity flop.
I've said.
Okay. If you want to order one, you can't order one till January.
MPS-10. Do not put your money into any sort of pre-order, people. It is ridiculous.
No.
MPS-10.
Bitcoin's looking good at the moment.
Let's talk about this. It's a so it's a drum pad kit thing. You know, we've seen these before. There's 10 pads.
This is rip off Roland Week.
Yeah. This has got a
so
this has got a 4-track looper. There's CC on this as well. So there's a bit of stuff. External triggers in. Now there was a video. This doesn't have a video either. So there was a video by some guy, which I can sort of play without any sound while I'm talking over it, and you can see him mucking around at the same. I think this was on Sonic State as well. I think
lots of flashy rainbowy lights.
Yeah. But the whole point of this is that you're going to use your sticks. You're going to bang a few pads. You've got a few sounds that you can dial up, and then you can use the phrase looper with it. Hey, it's pretty cool. It sounds pretty good. There's this thing called the CC pad, that they're talking about, which is
Delicious.
how would you call it? Detecting striking positions, that sort of stuff, right?
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
Intuitive control with parameters and effects. So you can, I kind of guess it's a little bit like MPE for drummers, in that sense. That was probably a good way of describing it. Wouldn't you agree? It's kind of like multiple points of
multiple
triggering
points of impact.
And it's a bit like MPE, that we have in synthesizers, but more for drummers. So I think it's got some more interest to me than the KAOSS pad, but it's another rip-off, like you guys said, I think, and also it's about the same price as the KAOSS.
It is the same price.
Yeah,
exactly the same price.
Which I think, once again, Ian, is ludicrous. I
Chris,
think
you were right there. They must have had a lot of these products that have been on the go for a while and thought, we're going to have to get them out this year because otherwise we're going to be stuck. Whack them out at the biggest price we can afford.
Their bottom end is suffering. Yeah.
Write-off time. Tax write-off time.
Yeah. What's
interesting
what part of the year in Japan do they do their tax returns? Is it the end of the year?
I don't know, but I mean, they're clearly not thinking about. Well, the UK. I can talk about the UK market, can I? I mean, it's different in Australia and elsewhere in the world, but they've launched it. 6 weeks before Christmas, and nobody will be able to buy it for Christmas. So even if you were daft enough to spend 950 quid on one of these products, you're not gonna. Let's face it, Christmas is the time to buy presents. So nobody's going to be buying this sort of stuff for Christmas.
But to be serious, you should just get the Yamaha or the Roland one that's already out. They do the job.
The Yamaha thing's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
Drummer.
I'm on it every day. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm still rubbish, mind you, but I'm really enjoying playing with it.
Yeah. What are the chatties saying? Are they throwing their synths at the screen?
The loopers at the screen, maybe.
Yeah. Loopers that don't loop properly. Loopers without a loop point.
It is. It's just one beat,
effects,
2 beats, 3 beats of beats.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're going to create a looper, you can't. With that KAOSS thing, you can't even over loop it. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
Like, what's
which
the
you
point
can
of it?
with the cheap KAOSS later will do that.
Yeah,
you can
the old one you could.
And
even an
I'm
Electrobe.
really struggling to see what was in the minds.
Even the Electrobe you could. They had the code. They literally have the code in about 30 other products that they've sold over the last 30 years. They could have just copied that.
You're watching too many Behringer videos and decided to rip off Roland. So
I know. Go back to our meme before.
You think it was built a few years ago, though, and it's been sat at the back, and someone's just found it and started waving it about. What's this here?
But you know
back
what?
At the lounge suite.
This is almost like Korg saying, you know what, guys? Tap, we're out. Just go buy a laptop. That it's almost like waving the flag in the air, saying, "What's the point of us making hardware anymore? Just go buy a laptop because they're always just going to be better than what we can produce." And that's just crap. That's crap. Like, your name here is put EA1. Exactly. Electrobe EA1. Refer to the above. All right, let's get some more happy news, I guess. Yes, there's the front, there's the top, and there's the back. Quite a bit of connectivity on that drum pad, I thought, cool. Which was good. But yeah, if you're not a drummer, you probably think to yourself, well, maybe not. But some drummers may be interested in this. I don't know. I love my Roland hand sonic, tappity tap 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 thing, and Ian's got his finger drum thing. So, I think those sort of things are probably more suited for us, finger drummers and MPC pads and stuff like that. But who knows? I know some guys that are into synths, and they also like to use the drumsticks while they're doing their performance. So this could be a cool thing. But like I said, there's a Roland product out that literally does, I think, almost exactly the same thing, right? And I think it's cheaper. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Right. What do we got next? Back to here. Sorry. This. Looks like a bit of electronics. Looks like something that Chris and I have made in the backyard. Well, it kind of is. It kind of is. This is the Fluorine. It's a recursive beat generator, and it's a Tindy project. Let's have a little look at the video, so Ranz can get a copyright claim.
Drunk Apex Twin.
This sounds like a Game Boy, doesn't it? Anyway, I will stop there. You guys can check out. There's only another 2 minutes left on that video. Let's check out the Tindy web page for this sucker. It's not that expensive. It's about 100 and something bucks for the fully built one, and you can get it as a DIY kit as well. For people,
I'm guessing that screen wasn't fully mounted, right? Because it was off center.
No, no.
I think that was his. I think that might have been his thingo, his prototype. Yeah. What button?
It's just a new way of. Yeah.
Now, 8 left. Fully assembled is sold out. I think there's another store. There's a Tindy store where I saw some still in stock. I don't know why he'd have stock in his Tindy store, but not in his
fully assembled. I know I'm doing a bit of soldering, but
you can buy the kit for 160. This is Australian dollars, so halve it for pounds. Actually, it's probably about £10. Our dollar's terrible at the moment. PCB and microcontroller if you just want to get the basics and find your own components because you might have them lying around. So so it's about £100, I guess, fully assembled, somewhere around there. It's a USB powered on USB Type-C and 8-bit synthesis. That's why it sounds like I thought it sounded like a Game Boy, but it's probably more like a SID chip, I guess, because it's 8-bit, right?
SID chip or Atari Punk. Yeah.
It does run in various selectable bit depths, he's saying, not just the 8-bit. The higher the bit depth, the softer and rounder and the higher definition the sounds become. It features 2 ways to calculate the mono byte beat synthesis in stereo or wide and 3-dimensional. Did I read that wrong? Anyway, liquid and solid for the sound engine. I don't know what that means, but yeah, there you go. But I think it's interesting. Anyway, I like all these projects because, things kind of stem from these sort of things. So I'm not really sure it's for me, but one of you guys out there might be interested in it. Anyone want to chat about the Fluorine? I'm going to put it on your
Well, I had a look at it and I considered it, but I decided I wasn't going to buy it. But the thing I kept thinking of when I was listening to it was going, but does it do anything else? And is there any concept of silence anywhere in that? Because it's just a continuous tone. Now that could be just a demo, but and sometimes that's what people find interesting, so they play the part that they found interesting. But when you're looking for something like something like that, you kind of want to do a little bit more variety or something. So I don't know. I mean, as I said, I might not be representative of what the actual beast does or can do. And that's the other thing, of course, is that sometimes people take that and go, I can hack it to do something different, which is kind of what you're talking about, Ranz, which is what happens in the community is that you put it out there, you're not really sure. Maybe other people will like it, take it, do something with it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. So it's part of the spirit of it.
Is it a teensy?
Yeah, no, it didn't.
I think it's a teensy.
No, I looked at it. I thought it was a daisy of some description.
Oh, a daisy. Okay.
It has,
but it is
the
Mega, isn't it?
I don't know. You see, this is the I tried to find out what it was. Snooping through pictures, doing some investigating. I could not find a daisy that was painted black like that. So I think this is maybe one that he's sent off to get manufactured from a reference circuit or something, and he's given it his own sort of adjustments, because he sells you the microcontroller
Yeah.
in the minimum kit, making it sound as though you're only going to get that from him because he did something non-standard with it from other offerings of Daisy seeds.
I mean, if you have,
but yeah, I don't know, but I thought it was noteworthy that it was not one I could find.
Is it pre-programmed? You just have to put it together, or do you have to do everything?
I got the impression that you get, if you just want the very basics, you got the chip with the PCB, and everything is all ready to go. You've got to then add the little components to get it to run the screen,
Right.
Things, or you can buy the whole thing fully assembled, or you can buy.
You don't have to load the
bits.
code to it or anything. It's already loaded up.
It says that it's programmed. It's a programmed microcontroller.
Ooh, okay, so he's not put it up on GitHub. Interesting.
The user has the source to the rest of the components. The user has to source the rest of the components if they buy just that. There is a user guide on GitHub, and there's a build guide on GitHub, but yeah, don't know if there's anything more. I'll see if I can find anything on that GitHub while we're doing it. Let me just see if I can get that up. Maybe he might have some source code on there.
You might do.
Nah, there's no source code on there. Yeah.
Yes, he does reference what it's sort of based on, because I think it was based on some software that was running on something, a Commodore 64 or something. So he's given us what was the inspiration for it. So yeah, recursive byte beats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Though he says it's a novel synthesis technique.
Well, that means that he's
interesting.
Yeah, novel means basic.
It's not.
Yeah.
Or well, it doesn't. I thought it means new. That's what that novel.
Yeah. Anyway, this is not for. I know this is not for some people who are more of a professional musician and things like that. But this is like a little hobbyist thing. I do like them though, so it's always worth checking out. All right, shall we move on to the next?
Yeah.
Cool. How about some eurorack? Well, you have got a full-blown 8-track drum and percussion synth there, capable of 9 different digital synthesis algorithms, of virtual, analog, FM, wavetable, and a bunch more. And they can all be assigned freely to each of the 8 tracks if you want, like 8 bass drums, for example. That might be what you want. And there's also 8 dedicated knobs, as you can see. In fact, why don't we bring that up there? It's a nice little bit clearer sort of graphic there. There we go. And you've also got CV output, 6 single outs and a stereo out, plus various effects. And they're saying that there's going to be some more to come. It is a digital module, so he can like update the firmware on this thing as well. It's pretty pricey. It's $584, I think it was. I've got on the modular grid as a price. I'm not sure if that's the actual RRP or if that's euros or converted or whatever. So it is pretty pricey, but it does come with an expander. You can get a what's the expander? It's like an 8-gate trigger input thing that you can get with it. Now, the expander was not on the video, I don't think. No, it wasn't. So yeah. Anyway, 128 kits, 30 user presets per algorithm, and you can also update them via MIDI as well. There's also 2 extra CV user in and outs that you can see there where it says user 1 and user 2 up the top. Now they can be assigned and used to morph between kits and various other things as well through the menu diving encoder there.
Which is what that video was really all about, was the morphing between 2 different drum kits.
Yeah, it sounded a bit like the defam to me.
Okay.
No?
Well, there was FM in there.
Roland SH32 looks just
sounds
like
very defammy.
Yeah, there was FM in there. Yeah. Wavetable drum machine. That's probably the interesting part of it. Because, I mean, wavetable's been around, floating around heaps, right? But wavetable drums, different to wavetable synths, right? Think about it as more of a percussive thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Anyway, the company is a German company, Schneiderschladen. I should probably bring their website up.
They're just guys who sell it.
Oh, they're the guys who sell it, are they?
Oh,
yeah.
That's the shop, isn't it?
The shop.
Yeah, that's the guy who runs Superbooth, Schneider.
Oh, it's Flame.
Yeah,
Flame
yeah.
is the manufacturer. Yeah, okay. Do apologise. So these guys are like a shop. This is going to be in German, isn't it? I'll translate it. There we go.
Polish, I think. Is this the Polish one? Maybe I was thinking of something else.
So are they Polish?
I thought... I've forgotten whether this is this or something else that I was looking at this week that came up with do you want to translate... Google wanted to translate it from Polish to English, so it may have been these guys.
This was shown at Superbooth, though. I do remember watching this. But yeah, I just thought we'd sort of look at it more than that. You can get it now and all that sort of stuff. It's okay for me. It's not for me. It's really not sort of the sort of thing I'd be looking for. I mean, I can achieve all of that in a DAW, no problem at all, or even on an MPC using samples and stuff. Yeah. But hey, someone like Darren may want to have something, in his rig that he wants to, use and tweak and stuff. Make all the girls go crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I've moved away from me at modular at the moment. I don't think I'd use it in the rig. I know what Ian was saying. Sound-wise, not saying that because it's wavetable or anything. Sound-wise, it did sound very defammy. But that was just what he was doing. I don't know. It's probably not for me neither. But having said that, it's not too much of a bad price when you think what modules are. It's not over. It's not a mass like a Korg thing. It's not overpriced.
That's a good point.
It's in the ballpark.
It's appropriately priced.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, Chris. Yeah, for a small modular. Yeah, it sounds alright. Like I said, I don't mind the defam, so it's got that sort of hint of a defam type sound. So yeah, I don't mind it. Whether it's for me or not, I don't know. Probably not.
I did mention that little the extra module thing on the side
for the triggering,
the extender. So that's what it looks like there.
Yeah. Because I think it's designed normally to be partnered with the drum sequencer she had on the right hand side.
Yeah, in the video there was a drum sequencer,
and it would have been a ribbon cable going around the back between the two modules.
So in a way, you're going to be wanting probably both of those products as well as the drum sequencer, right? So you probably want to get the tact rhythm sequencer as well, I would suggest. You could use any sequencer with it because it's CV based, but this thing looks like it's more suited specifically to that. And then when you're looking at that sort of regime, you're probably you're going to be spending over $1,000 easily. But hey, Andy, what about your thoughts? I mean, you're into this sort of stuff, so.
Yeah, I mean, I have so much other kind of drummy, noisy kind of percussive module stuff already, so wouldn't really. And it's kind of a fair amount of HP, so that's also kind of a turn off when they. I mean, I know it has a lot of connectivity and knobs and stuff, but it looks like it's well built. It has some interesting stuff. I mean, I'd have to hear more of it, obviously, than that simple demo. But
yeah,
it's funny. It's just like I said before. As soon as I saw it, those buttons and knobs made me think of SH32. It's got the same exact kind of thing. It's like, whoa, blast from the past.
yeah,
yeah. Because not a lot of things have those kind of glowy buttons like that on it. And hopefully they're more durable, because my SH32 I think has 2 bad buttons on it now. I have to fix. But yeah,
they're pretty old though. SH32s.
They are old, yeah. And it's probably abused by the previous owner. So
right.
But no, this looks good. But again, I'd have to hear more of it, and I probably wouldn't get it anyway, just because it's, I'd like to get more esoteric or exotic stuff at this point, instead of this kind of the same kind of drummy stuff and all that. So
I think if you were a gigging or e-momming modular artist and you wanted to have a long set with different drum sounds in different songs, but you still wanted it to be modular synth based, this might be attractive to you because of the ability to morph between different kits and having so many different synthesis per kit options available. You can have very different sounding kits for very different tracks.
I don't really get the morphing though. I mean, explain that to me, because I mean, isn't morphing just choosing different tones?
Well, I think in that particular version, it reminds me of some of the morphing patch synths. You know, the synths that have a patch and you have one button on it that can morph between patch 1 and patch 4, and they used to be really big a couple of years ago. But I haven't heard much about it since, so it probably isn't particularly useful. But in drums, that's all I can think of is the whole sort of either the transitioning from one song to another, or what he was doing in that video was kind of a stylistic thing within a song. You have sort of these different movements within the song. That's sometimes quite popular in forward-thinking dance music, because people quite like to mix genres, and that's quite fashionable at the moment.
I mean, I get it. Like you've got, like quite often you'll hear in a lot of dance tracks or techno, you'll hear them with a clear drum kit, and then they'll go into a lo-fi drum kit, as part of a drop or as part of a bridge or something like that. Is that what they mean by morphing? Because when you morph a drum sound, there's not really like you've got a lot of time between the sounds because they're percussive, right? It's like it's not in a synth you're going to hear the morphing. Like if you think about
you're right. It's not like you're going to actually hear the snare transition from one thing to another within its one hit. It's the individual hits. So what you're going to get is different versions of the sound as it evolves,
as it travels through the morphing stages.
So it's very much
the loop of the sequence, isn't it? As you transition through sounds.
So I think the value of having an actual full pot is a little bit questionable.
Yeah,
I think 3 positions, A, B, and A plus B, would probably be enough in practice. So maybe the morphing is a little bit gimmicky in that sense.
Most DJs would have at their fingertips if they've got gear. Even MPCs, Akai Force can do it as well. So yeah, Akai.
But it's definitely
your crossfade is a morph, isn't it? It morphs from one into the other, basically just fading the volume into the other.
Yeah,
but presumably it's not just morph. Yeah, it's sort of like it's not really a crossfade, is it? Because they're actually going to be interpolating all the parameters, which means you're going to get some weird stuff. Particularly, for example, if you're transitioning between 2 FM sounds, because we all know how wild FM can get when you make tiny little tweaks. If you had a transition between 2 FM sounds, the in-between sounds could get quite bizarre. So that's very different from crossfading between 2 sound sources.
Yeah,
well, that's bizarre. They already are. It's FM.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I get that. I was just meaning that's a form of morphing. It's not what they're doing. Yeah, they're obviously morphing the sounds, blending from one sound into the next.
I guess if that's the power of it,
changing it,
Darren. If that's the power of it, we probably needed to see more of that, like a little bit.
Yeah,
more
we needed to because we're all trying to work out
Zoomed
what
in.
whether it is actually morphing or what. So we needed to see that if that was his main thing.
It's a strange thing, isn't it, to have a video, no videos, and then suddenly that's the first video showing a new feature. It's almost like we didn't get the memo for the other 29 features.
Yeah.
so maybe he didn't. Maybe no one needs to talk to him about how to set videos from public to private back to public again. And
there's a bunch of videos on
the I don't know,
on the Modular Grid page. I don't know if they, because sometimes Modular Grid does list a whole bunch of videos, and sometimes the algorithm picks up videos that aren't related. It could be that. But go to the Modular Grid page and have a look. If you're interested, there might be something in there. Definitely check out the Sonic State one that, what's his name? Butterworth. What's his name? The guy that does the Eurorack stuff for Sonic State.
Oh, yeah. What is
Butterworth.
his name?
Forget his name.
Yeah.
Well, Goo's not there. He's gone.
No.
Anyway, that guy. He was the guy that was interviewing him in that video, and there was a bit of information about what you're talking about, Chris, in that Sonic State video. It sounded good. I just don't think we're kind of seeing what the words that they're saying that this thing can do. I'm not seeing it do it. I want to see it do it. So get it in the hands. People. Get it in the hands of Alex, please. Milo Melodies, or someone who's a competent reviewer. Get it in their hands, and or even Loopop's pretty good at Eurorack these days too. So yeah, right. Definitely don't get it in my hands because I'm just gonna balk it. We will keep going. What else we got? This is interesting. Isn't it? What's going on with the graphics? It's all like black and weird. Anyway, Chroma console is from Hologram, the guys that doing those awesome pedals that we've been talking about forever. Let's have a look at the video. This is a cool video, and it is a lot of guitar, but okay, so pretend that it's not a guitar when you're watching this. Pretend it's a synth or your Eurorack or whatever. But you guys, synth. Yeah, you guys will work it out. It's the stuff that this can do is not just for guitar. Let's move on to the bits where he actually shows some of these parts, right? Oh, let's just stop on that lovely sound. I think the drive character side of this is going to be awesome for some of these mono synths that we've got. Imagine putting a mini brute or a Bass Station 2 through that. and when that's already got drive and overdrive and stuff in it, the howl, the fuzz, the swell, all those sort of these are all digital circuits, by the way. And then I thought the texture and the movement and the diffusion stuff was also interesting, and I liked how you can kind of blend between all those sort of effects, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, let's talk about this. This is a pretty cool pedal, I guess you would call it. It's not really a pedal; it's more an effects thing, isn't it? We're looking at $399. $399 is a pretty decent price. Finally, someone brings something out that is actually a decent price.
The only problem with them here in the UK is the import costs, because before I obviously bought Jim Glue's microcosm, but I was going to buy a microcosm, and you can only buy them direct. There's no distributor here in the UK. So the $399. Go on.
No, I was going to say become a distributor.
Oh, me. All right. Sorry.
Easier for.
Yeah.
I think the cost over here will be more than the $400. I think you're looking at probably $500, something like that, by the time you've paid import duty and them to ship it and all that stuff, which is a bit of a, and I'm sure it will be better than this, but fundamentally, it's a multi-effects pedal, and these are £100. So, I know it will sound a lot better than this, because these are a bit noisy.
Yeah, it's a different world.
But would I spend $400 or $500 on a multi-effects pedal when I've got something like that? Probably not. Much as I love the microcosm, it is a slightly different beast, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I love the microcosm, and I love the other pedals that they did as well. And this is great, but like you say, it's just the getting it over it. Because when I bought the microcosm, because I actually got it from the US, I think I got it just before we Brexited, and it didn't cost me that much more at the time.
It wouldn't at that point.
But now, like you say at the time, and now it's the shipping cost. You're like adding another $100+.
I mean, I may have, because I haven't spent a huge amount of time on the microcosm, but I can't. You can only use one effect at a time in mics. I'm right in thinking that, aren't I? I haven't worked out a way of being able to use more than one effect. Yeah. Now that's the thing that I thought was missing for the microcosm. Now this clearly has got that, because you've got 4 of them,
and they're rearrangeable too.
Yeah. That was my only real criticism of the microcosm, was that I'd like to use more than one effect at a time.
But what I do now with my microcosm is I use that. Remember that patch bay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I can have. So now I can have my all my different guitar effects, cheap ones, expensive ones, and I patch them through there in any order I like into the microcosm, and then back out of that.
Ooh.
Which is
so it's kind of like your end, one of your end effects.
Yeah.
I do that
or
with
I
the
can
big
put the
Sky.
microcosm into that mix.
Yeah.
But the good thing about that little patch bay is I can literally, I don't have to unplug all my guitars. I can just flick them around and get that sort of effect that they're doing. So I can put them in any modular order I fancy.
Now there is 20 different effects in this, but each effect has you can modify them. So there's you can change a little bit of what you can do with the parameters on the effects, like what you can with the microcosm.
And
like
it records your movements as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it's a gesture recording thing, and then you can actually save them as presets, and you can access it all through MIDI. It's syncable through MIDI as well. By the way, for you worrying about price and importing and things like that, it's $399 US, and I just had a look. It's another $50 US to ship it to Australia, which I thought was pretty decent. Because I've seen like Thomann want to charge me $150 US to ship just a eurorack module. So in all up, that would be about $700 and something Australian to get it over here, and that wouldn't require any more costs. We wouldn't have to pay GST, we wouldn't have to pay input tax or anything like that. I think that's pretty decent. That is a pretty
yeah, like I say, I really like this type of thing, and it just depends how much extra it costs to get it over here.
Yeah,
now.
I'm going to see if I can find out. Actually,
I can
talk among yourselves. I'll keep trying to see how much it's going to cost to actually import it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at.
But
the
yeah,
UK.
I'm going to do like.
was going to say, if I add it to the UK, I have to take the other one out of the cart. It's
I think everything
it's
over
the same price.
$135.
Yeah, for the UK. Oh, I have to change the delivery address. Hang on a sec. It's thinking that I'm in.
Yeah,
Western
I think
Australia.
we get hit by import duties now, don't we?
Let me just change it to.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The
I'm
US.
sure it comes over here. They'll send the price, your shipping cost, and then it lands over here, and then
And
get
then you have
whacked
to
with
pay
something.
more to
Yeah.
to
That's the issue.
You-
'cause we
you-
can never find out
UK
exactly how much
government.
we're going to pay.
So that might be okay. What
Yeah.
you're talking about, guys, but it is literally the same price to deliver to the UK as well.
right.
So it's 50 US to deliver, and then you might have some costs on at your end
Mm.
that
Yeah.
you might have to.
Yeah, we'll
handle.
say it's like 450, and
So it's
then
$449
say,
US.
20% whacked on top of that, maybe.
20%. So you're going to have to pay. Do you have to pay VAT on everything that comes in? Do you?
They've
well-
got this stupid
No.
revert. Yes and no. I mean,
You can get a refund.
yeah. Well, they have this. The UK VAT man has got this ridiculous thing where we can't claim the VAT back from an export. You know, so if I buy that in and I want to claim the 20% back, I can't. Whereas I can anything in the UK. And to be fair, that's what stopped me buying the Soma Terra. You know, they've now got UK distribution of Soma for them. So, you know, after Christmas, I probably will buy one. But it's, you know, importing stuff into the UK, and you're going to have to pay the VAT, and then you're going to have to pay
And you,
Yeah.
extra.
and you just never know how much it's going to cost because there's never a
No,
clear...
that's it, and that's the problem. You know, until it turns up
Yeah,
at
that was the thing,
customs,
I found.
you've got no idea.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, you could be lucky it costs very little, and then you could be unlucky and it costs an absolute fortune. And that's
Yeah.
why it's hard for us to buy things out. I mean, I'm discussing with someone in Canada at the moment for my live set, and it's like, it's great, but when I get it over here, how much is it going to cost? And I can't find a clear answer to it.
No.
That's what they should have. They should literally have a price checking thing that your government should be able to give you.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
a clearinghouse where you can say, right, guaranteed this is what it's going to cost me if I buy this from, you know, Amazon or AliExpress or Hologram Electronics.
That's
you
it.
know?
That's why we always seem to be getting things from either the UK or somewhere where we know how much it costs, because otherwise you're just sort of like clutching at straws when you buy something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Now,
I know what you mean by shipping. I have something coming from Australia pretty soon, and the shipping was kind of high. So
Australia shipping is nasty. Yeah, it always is. It's nasty here and it's nasty back.
yeah,
In and out.
Okay, let's talk about. I think, but so far I'm thinking this is probably one of the best products out in the last month or so. This is really, really good.
I do like it. I must admit, I do
cool.
like it.
Massive
I like
pat on
it
the back
too.
to those guys.
If it happened
Yeah.
to be in the US at the time, I could pick one up there and then bring it
Just
back
pick
with
one up. Yeah. You pick up two.
Yeah.
You pick up two. You pick up one for me as well.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
fly over there.
you can't go wrong. Direct control of effects, 80 presets, stereo in and out, MIDI control. I mean, what's not to like?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I mean. And the
Weird
MIDI
going on with
control
the
as well,
background
it's cool.
image there. Anyway, the next thing I want to show you guys is this. This is the what do they call it? The SinoSoda Modularity. It's a weird SinoSoda Modularity.
Which sounds like a drink.
It does. It
Isn't it
does.
Sinusodia?
Yeah.
But, you know,
SinoSoda.com. I think they're
we
in
don't
Poland, don't they?
Speak Japanese. So.
I think they're in Poland.
So these are the Polish guys.
Yeah.
I knew somebody was Polish.
Oh, why do people not allow websites without www in front of it? Seriously. Are you serious? Anyway, what you're looking at is a SinoSoda.com. No, not the right website. Okay, maybe it's not .com. What you're looking at
Actually,
is...
you can't do it. I did it without www. It worked.
I'm getting some... Oh, maybe I spelled it wrong. SinoSoda.
Yeah. Sinusoda. Yeah.
Sinu.
SINUSODA.
Yeah. That's why I'm spelling it wrong.
2.
I want to get the website up because... Is it
It's a
going to work
clever
now?
pun on sinusoidal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, here we go. Because it shows better than what my stupid little graphic shows. So what this is a Eurorack case that is modular. So now you can have a modular case in your modular system. Pun. But it is really, really modular. So you're buying kind of like these blocks, I guess you would call them. They've got names for them though. And they're pretty cheap. They start like the building blocks start at $75 and you can work your way into something, whatever you want from this. And the other cool thing about it is you can get them with or without power supplies. I'll show you all this sort of stuff as we go. And at the same time, you can also, it's really funky. You can actually plug modules in down the side instead of just across the top of your cases. And I'll show you that in a sec as well. These are the power supplies you can get. There's like, they're called Juice. So you've got a 30 amp. I think it's 30 amp. No, 3 amp. 3 amp, 1.5 amp, 2 amp, and there's an ultra low noise thing as well. Different on the different rails. So plus 12 3 amp, minus 12 1.5 amp, and 2 amp on the plus 5, and ultra low noise. And then there's a smaller version, which is the Bubbles. You can see Juice and Bubbles, and there's another version I think somewhere else. And they are modular as well. They click in. So this is kind of all the offerings that you get. It's actually really, really cool. So basically, you can get this thing called an empty can. I said it starts at $75, right? This is what you get, and that turns into that, and it's 52 HP. So it's it's a kind of tidy little neat thing. But then it's hard to show you here, but I might see if I can show you on the Milo Melodies video. The rails actually go down the sides, and see how there's. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. See how there's these side bits here, right? They can actually come off, and you can actually put a module down literally down the side of your case. And these are magnetic, these little side panels, and they pop off as well. So let's go to us. Let me get the video set up, and I'll just see if I can. There's one use strips and a whole bunch of other stuff on here as well. We'll go through like all the sort of technical stuff about this, but I actually think this is really, really cool. Now,
Hello.
I don't want to get in trouble for having his audio on, so I'm just going to mute him. So is it going to show it? Oh, come on, YouTube. Look at YouTube.
Yeah.
This
We should
might
say
be-
that didn't happen.
This might be where you see it. Okay, so this is where he's building it. So this is where you sort of linking modules together. Yes, they're all made out of plastic, but they've got metal like bolts inside them, and they all link together. It's by the way, the plastic is actually, it's not 3D printed. It's actually
injection molded.
injection molding. But you can do some insane stuff. Now, I just want to show you these side bits, right? Let's have a look at these side bits. See how he's slightly taken off the left-hand side there. If you're going to show me. There's a 1U kit. Come on. There's a 1U kit, and it's IntelliGel-based 1U. Okay. There's the power supply. That's the Juice Light. That all just clicks in with little... you get tech screws you can put all in. Now, the whole thing about this, it's modular people. There we go. Oh, go back. There you go. There's the side of it. See how you've got the rails bend down to the side? So you can actually put your modules down the side. And he shows it. Go back. Go forward. There you go. So you can put your modules down the side. And the cool thing about it is if you are kind of into funky sort of stuff, you can have like buttons and, CV controls and all sorts of stuff on it. And you can make There you go. So you can have like crossfaders down the side. So it's pretty funky. Like, you know, someone's come up with this idea, and I'm just thinking, you know, if you look at my eurorack case, the little nifty case that I've got here. Come on, mouse, where are you? Right, there's my little nifty case there. There's literally nothing down the sides here. There's the sides. So there's technically, if you were to pull those sides off and look underneath, there's literally air. There's gaps, right? And you could probably put a module on the side. You would have to, you know, there'd have to be some sort of space, a gap, you know, maybe 4U sort of gap. But you could get the electronics to sort of butt down to the side of those. So this is quite clever. Let's go back to the website, because it's worthy of checking out all the different options that they've got.
Yeah, you can just drill holes in your nifty case and use flying bus cables. So
you could, but this is probably going to be cheaper, because I don't think these prices are actually that bad at all. I mean, you could, depending on what you want to get, there's some pretty inexpensive. Like, I mean, you can get a 7U 104 HP. Yeah, it's 511 euros, but it's fully assembled, right? But if you think about it, you know, Eurorack casing and chassis are expensive at the sort of high end. Yeah. But, you know, you could build this. The thing about it is, right, if you're on a budget, you can just get the 50 HP, 52 HP thing, and then 6 months later, oh, look, I've expanded. I can actually now just get another one. And you're not stuck with having to get another case, like a full-on second case that doesn't literally do anything other than just sit on your desk somewhere else. This thing is completely modular, so you can grow as you need, or you can shrink as you need.
And there's less wastage. Yeah, if you want to look at it from the environmental point of view. Although making stuff out of wood is pretty well, not good for trees, but
the thing with plastic is it's light. That's the big thing here, right? So wood is cool. I like it. I get it. It's environmentally friendly. You know, let's not wake up all the woke people. But the plastic is light. So like for people that are taking these things into gigs and stuff like that, they're not having to sort of if you two mini rack brutes, right? Two rack brutes, the 6U rack brutes. They are massively heavy because it's wood and metal, right? These would be at least half the weight of an empty rack brute. So
if the plastic is durable, it should be okay. The problem is that stuff hanging off the sides. How the hell are you going to cover that patch to take to a gig? There's stuff hanging out all over the place. It's going to bang into things and break. And
there's those panels. So you've got the panels, Andy, and you can see them on the panels there. They cover it up, right? But if you've got your module there, you would have to probably take that off.
That's what I mean. You can't just patch it and go.
Yeah. The side bits...
There's no cover to wrap the whole thing.
The side bits I get, you'd probably have to take them out. Or I think the power strip actually fits in there, and then you can cover it up as well. And also, I don't know if you saw, but did you see all those little side panels and top panels? They're ribbed, like there's a line. Mm-hmm. The whole reason for that is so that you can score it and you can snap it off. And then so that you can, if you want, you can put a 4U panel there, and then you can have your 4U module underneath, and it's still partially like covered, and it looks all neat. So it looks like it's you know, integrally part of it. And then you can buy those little panels by themselves. I think you just keep scrolling on the website. Oh, it's gone.
Mate, the thing is that this is probably still evolving product too. So maybe they'll get feedback and people will say, you know, you've asked for a nice protective case to go around our system. We've listened, you know, hopefully.
I hope these guys have patented it. I really do, because I don't like it when businesses come up with ideas like this and then someone goes and copies it. Well, and you know who I'm talking about, right? You know who I'm talking about. So I really, really hope these guys have patented it and protected their butts on this, because
so from a gig point of view, these are metal. These are about as light as they can make them, but they're metal. So it's thin metal. Cover comes right off. It's all pre-patched. Everything's good to go, right?
Yeah.
The plastic, the handle's plastic, and some of the guts are plastic. But basically, this is ready to go. I don't have to worry about it unless I just drop it, right? So,
the only
so it's something to be said for having metal.
So Andy, the only thing that this does that your IntelliGel solution doesn't is it doesn't expand in this way. So what these the selling point of this is the modularity part of it.
Oh, I get that part. Yeah, so it'd be good for home stuff. I wouldn't use it for mobile. Yeah.
Well, they're saying it's good for both, and they've definitely got some points anyway to say that. But anyway, look, for me, I know a lot of people say, "Hey, I've got eurorack, and I don't know what size case to get," and everyone's saying, "Oh, always go with the bigger case than what you need because you need to grow into it." Well, the reason why people would say that in the past is because you get a case and you outgrow it. You literally have to get another case and replace it with it and move all your modules in it.
You're throwing all that.
It's cool that it's like Lego. I mean, you can't expand it that way, which is nice. So.
Yeah. And in a way, that's going to save you. I mean, it's a buy-in with this company, I get, right? But technically, you kind of usually buy in with companies anyway. Like, I know, Andy, you like IntelliGel. I like IntelliGel as well, by the way. So you're in a way, you're kind of buying in with them. So I don't see a problem with that. And if they've got the patent and they've definitely protected themselves and no one starting with B is going to copy them, I think this will be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even still, like, you could use this idea with your own DIY modular setup. So
it's inspiring.
It's inspiring.
Engineering.
Yeah.
I totally love this engineering from the engineering point of view. At the very least, this is way cool.
I think you guys might remember me mentioning about the side eurorack things in Alex's video that he showed with a different product last week. Was it last week or the week before? So, and I was like, what? What the hell is that?
Yeah,
and now we're finding out what it is. So,
yeah.
Looked like a hack at first, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it might have been one of his cardboard things because, he started off with cardboard-made chassis for his eurorack modules.
That's fun.
Yeah. But we're talking like 2010 or something. It's a while ago.
I mean, you could spray cardboard and plasticize it, and it could be nice and sturdy. So,
yeah. All right. Speaking of interesting things, we'll have a bit of fun with this, I think. There we go. Brushed metal look is back. So there are some limited edition versions. Let me just get to here of these now that you can get, and they are brush aluminium or brush metal, if you want to call it that. So there's the Digitact, the Digitone, and the SingTact are available. And you can buy them through Elektron or the distributor. Just to give you an idea of the pricing, this is US dollars. This is what a Digitact is through their web shop. I know the prices might be different through your local, but this is just through their web shop. So $8.49 for the standard one. You ready? Bracing yourselves, everyone sitting down. Does exactly the same thing, but with nice, no paint version for $9.99. It's the remix edition, everyone. Look, I don't know if there's anything special electronically inside it that's different, or if
didn't the gold MPC-1 cost more when it came out?
Do you remember they did this, Andy, with the Octatrack, and then the Octatrack Mark II came out, and they didn't.
Also, Moog had their Black series and stuff. Didn't those cost more?
They cost more. Yeah.
Korg have done it as well.
Korg have done it. Yeah. Yamaha have done it with their white speakers.
Arteria have done their black editions, but they weren't
Exactly. Yeah. So
that much.
they're just
more
joining the
expensive.
crowd.
Teenage Engineering Edition says Kent. There you go.
Well, it's brushed. It's brushed aluminium. That's way more difficult to do.
No,
Yeah,
it's not.
somebody use a
They've
whole
got to be
brush.
less on it if it's teen engineering.
Someone brushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You've got to hire someone to brush it. You've got to train them,
Yeah.
and then you've got to do
Like your
quality
mum.
control.
Before you walked out the front door to go to school, she brushed your hair for you. Yeah. So they had a mum at
Just
Elektron
imagine an
brushing
anniversary
the
edition of these guys.
Look, I look. It's a bit of fun. They let them have a little bit of a celebration, and for them, great. But I'm just sort of making it obvious to you guys that you're spending a bit more dollars on something that's exactly the same.
But it's a limited run, so they can also have resale value. So
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're into that stuff, not everyone
Really?
likes Elektron. I love
Really?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're into, if you like you're buying your sneakers and stuff like that, you'll be really into this because you got to have every single one that was released.
I suppose it depends. I suppose it's not going to be like a B word with the limited yellow, which was like literally. I won't say. I don't know how limited it was. Probably limited to 1.5.
Was
million,
it limited? Because I got mine really easily.
I've got
One
the
exactly.
red one.
billion people have one, Darren. That's how
Yeah,
limited.
the
it
red
is.
one was
Well,
really cheap for some
when
reason.
it first came out, it was limited. It had limited everywhere on it, and then they sort of dropped the
Wow.
limited sort of scenario when it first
What
came out.
which was the one that they put a smiley face on? I can't remember because that was.
that
this
one.
yellow one.
That's
Yeah,
the
the-
one, the yellow
yeah.
Oh,
one.
was the
That's
yellow
the
one? Was it? Yeah, because I just bought the. I mean, literally it was. I think 60 quid retail for the red one when I bought it, which was a bonkers price.
But
really.
if you sat there with some paint stripper, right, eventually, it's going to look like that.
yeah.
I don't know.
And some
Call me a
electrocytes.
cynic. Call me a cynic. But
Well, they also changed the screen too, right? The screen is
the screen's got the blue backlit.
Yeah.
What do you call it? OLED.
Yeah.
So yeah. I actually liked the orange. I thought that was a nice, change.
Retro.
I like the green. The green's my favorite one.
Yeah, well, the Octatrack Mark II had the blue-green one, so yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was that good, but yeah. They still have small screens. Even though those screens are bigger, they still have small screens. They're a small screen company. Yeah, get over yourselves, people.
They're
Right.
not impossible to read, though. They're very bright and very crisp, so,
Yeah.
everyone's getting older. My eyes aren't what they used to be, but I can still use them just fine. So,
I mean, $1,000
and compared to the damn
US
Korg screens that are like postage stamp, right?
Yeah, well, actually, the organelle screen is really tiny, but actually, it's in a live situation, it's really quite bright, and I have no problem with it. And I've got one eye. one
Sometimes
working eye.
you don't need a big screen, but these products, you need to use the screen, right? So,
Because they're deep.
yeah. I mean, there's really nothing that beats that MPC live screen. That's a fantastic screen. And also, I've had mine since 2017, and it hasn't even dimmed or anything. It's still just as good. I've had iPads that have lasted less time than the MPC live screen. So,
Sure.
and they cost more.
See, you've said it now.
It doesn't matter.
Go and touch some wood. Hug a tree.
If it breaks, I've got insurance. I can claim it on insurance. Right. You guys forget that, don't you? People forget that you can use your home contents insurance policy.
You can. I have a separate policy for everything, but
For your gear. Yep.
but
Get
yeah,
it
you can
repaired,
use your home.
Get it replaced. Yep. Don't just have a cry if something goes wrong with your synth. Check out your home contents policy, and if it covers
Some cards too, like American Express, you can have buyer's insurance and stuff. So,
Good point. We should keep the show rolling. There's not really anything to discuss about Elektron. I think it was just a bit of fun. We should go to the next segment, which I think you guys are probably dying to see, which is this one. Hooray! Another name that's synth. Yes, you have reached, I don't know how many we've done now, quite a lot. And if you're wondering what this segment is about, we're about to show you a video, and that video is going to be a synthesizer. You may not recognize it through the image graphics that you're seeing in the video, but that's okay. They might be tricking you. The sound is what you need to listen to. So get yourself a set of headphones and sit down in a quiet space, and you're about to get a chance to win yourself a copy of Plugin Guru Unify, which was you saw on the little stinger just before, which is the sponsor of this segment. And it's a decent piece of software that I think most people should have in their arsenal of bits of gear in their DAW land. Right, now, with the guesses, you only get one. You can have as many guesses as you like, but your first guess is your official guess. So put that into the live chat window, and you've got until I say time is up. And I know YouTube has delay and lag and stuff like that. It's the best we can do. It's a bit of fun. Don't take it too seriously. But the cool thing about it is, hey, you never know. You might actually get it right, and you might be the winner. So that's a cool thing. Right. Are we all ready? Yes, guys. You were going to mute everyone? Cool.
Yep.
I'm going to mute myself, and then I'm going to go over to the screen, and I'm going to press play on the video. And then you guys are going to have a chance. Here we go. Right, muting now. Give you guys an extra 30 seconds to put your answers in. Quick. 5, 4, 3, 2. Quick. Time's up. There we go. Time is up, everybody. What have we got? We've got some answers. And you can see anything that's popped in after it says time is up. Sorry, ASIO Head, you're out. Universal Vibe, you're out. Your first guess, too, for those who have done multiple guesses, Bering or something. That's such a... Yeah. Come on, try harder. Right. Let's go find out what it is, hey? Seriously, I know what the answer is, so I'm out. You know, obviously I can't play this game. I'm the host, but I thought, wow, you guys are going to be like, holy snapping something or other. Yeah, check this out. You'll be very surprised.
Whoa. That's interesting.
There it is. An Analog FX SER 2020, I think it is. Yeah. What an interesting synthesizer. Now, half god, half beast. Not half god, but sorry. What am I saying? Half god, half beast.
Mr. Biscuit.
Wrong person. I've lost my little email thing. Where's it gone? I'll leave it on there while you guys are having a look at it anyway. The guy's
So
name is Sean.
funky
The guy's
panel
name
on
is
the left
Sean.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
And it's Kissing the Machine. Sorry, I completely got his username mixed up. Kissing the Machine is his nick on YouTube, and his name's Sean.
Awesome.
So big thank you to Sean for sending that in. That is an amazing synth. I'd actually like to know more about that thing. It almost looks like a modular sort of eurorack sort of thing, but it's not.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Yeah, it's kind of also got a Cobalt expander type vibe as well.
Now, he was in the chat a little bit before. I don't know if he's still there. Let me see if he is. Yeah. See if he pops out that I've pinged him and his name. What do you guys think of that? There he is. Hey!
There he is.
I want to know more. I know nothing about it.
Very intrigued.
Tell us about your synth, mate. I did Google it. So it's the I have to get it up again. Analog FX. I'm pretty sure we have talked about this.
Yeah, has it been on a price watch or?
It's a monophonic, semi-modular analog synth in desktop format. It has a formant filter, and it has compatibility with eurorack modules. You can see down the bottom. Let me just get this page up, actually. The website is just analogfx.com. Analog spelt the US way, without the UE on the end.
Without UE,
yeah. Come on. Load. Here we go. So here we go. We got the SER 2020. Oh, go away with your stupid cookie messages. Who's doing that? Me. Is that coming from that webpage? Interesting. Sorry, I have to turn the webpage off. The webpage is making
just
noises.
automatically loaded.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's funny.
There's a whole heap of stuff on that webpage. It's a CEM3340 based oscillator. There's two VCOs in it, so it's SH101 oscillator.
Oh, yeah.
CEM3350 based VCFs. There's 3 VCFs in it. Ring mod, noise gen, 2 envelope generators, 2 LFOs with reset and shaper modes, and a whole bunch of other, effects things. So it's from what I read, and Kissing the Machine, he could probably correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is more for analogy sort of sound, like effect sounds, not really sort of like an instrument that you would play. That's kind of what it's been built for. It's 975 euros, by the way, to buy directly from them. So it's not on the cheap side. You could probably achieve something pretty similar with eurorack modules, but some of the way this is like wired internally with the patching, the internal, native patching, and the formant side of the filtering and things like that.
Oh,
that
it's based on the syrinx.
unique.
That's why. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because when that was playing on the Guess the Synth, it did remind me of my Gyrinx filter a little bit, which is a syrinx filter bank for eurorack.
Yeah, with the 3350.
So it did have that.
Yep.
Yeah, it did have that sound to it.
Yeah. Yep.
But I never would have guessed this. I never even heard of this company.
Neither have I, and that's a cool thing. Yeah. So he's jumped into the chat. We should get him on one day. He can tell us a bit more about it. Anyway, so I think that was an extremely good name, that synth, because it's a synth that really has just thrown us all off the scent. None of us had heard of this company. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a really good entry. So he's got himself a copy of Unify, if he hasn't already got it, from Plugin Guru. So well done, Sean. Good on you, mate. Thanks for sending that in. Awesome job. Yeah. He said that he got his cheaper than $9.99, but the price has gone up lately. So yeah, everyone's brass gouging at the moment.
Yeah.
But fair enough, because everything else goes up. Fuel and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because that Gyrinx filter is almost $500 just by itself. So.
Yeah. Awesome video. The only thing is, I had to really like stop it because like there was a frame that literally would have given them away. So I sort of stopped it slightly early, but I think you guys got most 99.9% of the video before I stopped it. But yeah, that's awesome. And if you guys want to, put your entry in for Name That Synth, it's really, really easy. Just head on over to Ranzee.com. I'll show you the page and everything. Ranzee.com. Head on over here, and there's literally a link there called Name That Synth. Click on that, and look at that. Everything there is about how to enter your own entry. Tells you what to do, tells you how to play, tells you how to contribute. There's even an example video there if you want to follow that as a template maybe. But I'll get you to fill out the winner registration form on that page. If you get a chance to today, that'd be good. Send your information through. The reason why we need that is just for you to agree the terms and conditions that Plugin Guru give us, and then Skippy will be, or one of his minions will be in contact with you to get you that software, mate. That's awesome. Now let's have a quick look at the sponsor, because he is providing us with some cool stuff. Let's do that. Now, there's going to be some changes with the Plugin Guru stuff that he's given us. Why is the website loading so slow? Come on! Stop taking forever to load. Okay, here we go. So, you've got all these libraries that you can get, and you've got your own plugin Unify that you can also get. We'll talk about Unify because, I think Unify is an amazing bit of software. He updates this quite a lot, this software, and you get free updates when you get it. Unify includes, 640 patches already that, showcase so many different types of, music production and genres in there. And if you're wondering what it does, it's basically a way for you guys to layer sort of different VSTs together. So you might want the sound of the Arturia CS80, and you want to have that with a Roland Cloud synth like the Jupiter 8. And you can tweak things with it, and it's also a library management as well, and it can be standalone. It's really, really cool piece of software, and I think for those who play in the box, it's one of those must-have pieces of software. It's only $79 US too, if you want to go and buy it. So, pluginguru.com, check that out. Thank you very much, Skippy, for sponsoring the segment. He's been sponsoring it for a couple of years. It's been awesome.
Yeah,
beautiful. Guys, enjoyed that?
Oh yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
That's cool, yeah.
Awesome. Well, why don't we have some more enjoyment and do, where is it? Third one across. Now, this week, we have got some interesting things to show you. And some of these things aren't live listings anymore. And I'm thinking, wow, I've only just literally found out about this and it's already been sold. So let's just have a look as we're going anyway. So that the Simmons one is still available. Let's go over to the live listing. It's on Reverb. So $4,000 Australian, £2,000. Lots of shipping. It's probably less shipping in the UK if you want it, because it is based in Oscar's Grooves in London. Funny thing though, on here, let's get rid of this. He says in here, if you want to see me, message me if you want more pictures. Mate, just put them on Reverb. There's like,
Yeah,
you can actually
yeah.
literally put 30 pictures up on here.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
it's just a
For
little
that much
bit
money, you should
money,
get some more
see?
pictures. Yeah.
SDS
Uh,
7, I think these were kind of like, hybrid. They had both digital and analog sounds in them. So that was the first one. This next one I thought was interesting. This is a book. I always find these things and I think, I'm going to show that. A book.
I saw that. Yeah.
I don't know I think this auction's finished. Yeah, you can't get this anymore. So I'll scroll down and I'll show you guys. But 155, what is it? $75, $78 pounds, sorry, for a book. And it is supposed to be a rare book. But has anyone heard of Devarahi? Is that how you say it? Devarahi?
No.
I don't think I've ever heard of this.
No.
I thought I'd show you guys anyway because I thought it was interesting, right?
Yeah, don't buy that. Buy the Mark Vail book. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and I chat to Mark Vale. He's a cool
Oh,
guy.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's a really good book.
He has so much time for everyone still, and yeah, shout out to Mark. I know Mark's watched the show a few times, so it's a good bloke. But this does go back to, this is 1982. So if you were to get yourself a book like this, and you can't, I don't know if you can get a PDF version anywhere, but obviously
The Forest books are good too. The A to Z books. They're old now, but those are very good.
But what did he say about it? It's there's a whole bunch of theoretical and explanations and hands-on experiments. There's 99 experiments in the book, so it's probably like some patches and things like that. The only problem with these sort of books, right, is that you'd probably need the synth. Like, I've got an ARP 2500 here. Let's do a patch.
It's not exactly going to cure your gear lust, is it? It's like, I don't have any of these things here, but I could. No, I can't.
Yeah. Now this next one, I think you guys are going to love. Now the auction has already ended, and you will see why. These things have only literally just come out. The Analog Solutions Ample.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I don't know how much they are. Does someone want to quickly check how much they actually are? Because we could see if this was cheaper or more expensive. But anyway, maybe they're hard to get. But this one was in the US in New York, in Yonkers. You've been to Yonkers, Andy?
New York now.
I thought you were going to say I haven't been there for Yonkers.
2,400 UK.
I think that's actually where the saying came from, isn't it? I haven't been there for Yonkers.
2,400 rands.
2,400 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good price. No wonder it sold. Wow, that was about 1,700 pounds.
Yeah, he didn't have it very long though, did he? Or her?
Brand new in the box.
It says used.
Yeah. Mint condition. Always wonder what you get in those boxes. A couple of books and things.
Yeah,
Colossus.
apparently it takes 3 weeks here in the UK to get one.
Okay. I really liked the Ample though. I thought that was a really cool product that
It's
they
great.
released.
Yeah.
What else we got? And we got this one, a belt buckle. See? Interesting this week.
Yikes.
Yep. And you can still get this one. So there's a couple of auctions that have finished, but this one's still live. If you want to spend 493 Australian dollars, or let's say 250 pounds on a belt buckle, I think that might be a little bit over, people. But
I think so.
this one is an ARP. It's an original 1977. There's a few pictures I'll show you guys in a sec. I just wanted to show you. Someone thought this was a treasure. Isn't that nice? It's a treasure.
Well, it is, but not at that price.
I don't think it was like good quality metal that they used in the
No.
day. It's looking pretty,
No.
pretty bad. But it's got the original ARP Industries stamp on the back. It definitely looks real.
It'll have been given free to dealers. Won't
Yeah,
it? Or
there's
to,
probably
or with your synth. You buy the
probably a
synth
few
and you get
hundred
free
of those
belt
floating
buckle.
around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be spending near on $500 on it though. Just saying.
How cool would that be if they made it a little thicker, it had retractable patch cable that came out of it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Retractable patch. What do the guys think in chat? How's that for a couple of interesting price watches? You had an art buckle and a book. Yeah, I bet you went exactly that.
No belt with this, says Paul Holmes. Yeah.
Oh, that would have rotted off by now, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if we went somewhere, and say we're with the family or whatever, and we went somewhere and it was completely unrelated to synths, right? And we came across these things. We came across the book, for example, right? Or we came across, where are we? The buckle. Come on, why are you not working? Oh, I hate it when things don't work. Work. There we go. You came across that, you'd probably buy it.
You probably would.
Yeah.
Or if you came across book, you'd probably buy it. If you go to those secondhand used bookstores, and you're like,
Oh God,
what the hell's this? A synthesizer book? Yeah, I'm buying that. $150 later.
Telling me, dream.
So yeah. Chatties. Out of all the things today in the show, Chatties, tell us what floated your boat. What made you happy the most? What was it? A product that we showed? Was it the name the synth? Was it an ARP buckle? What was it that floated your boat today? Was it that you had to start and watch the show an hour earlier? Fatty ARP buckle. There we go. Name that synth, says Univibes. Awesome. Yeah, it was pretty good. I like that one. Probably my favourite so far. The Excellent Company. There we go. Thanks, Andy.
Hey.
Nice of you, mate. Art buckle, of course. Wow, Paul likes the art buckle. You'd have to get yourself one of those, Wrangler jeans or something, wouldn't you, Andy? You'd have, and just
Vintage.
get yourself that buckle and it's like sticking right out there and in front of everything. Synth Addicts curtains.
Nice one, Legs.
I'm in the David Lynch zone, so
Yeah.
Black Lodge.
Revealing that synth. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's awesome, guys. I bet she's got a whole bunch of them, Babs, in a drawer somewhere. And
sure.
I bet you if you offered her $50 US, she'd probably give you one, not $200 US. That's for sure. Mind you, if you gave $200 US to the ARP Foundation, the Alan Perlman Foundation,
That'd be worthy.
that would probably be a good thing. And hopefully it's a bit shinier than that one too. JP Page 2, what a champ. Look at that. Putting $5 through. Awesome, mate. Good on you. Keep the electrons
Nice
fed.
one,
Yeah, keep the friggin' power on here. Wow. Power bills are insane in this part of the world at the moment. Don't even go there. $1,500 power bill, Chris.
Oof. I won't say anything about ours then. It'll make you feel just great.
Yeah. We need to get solar panels on the roof ASAP.
Yeah.
We have 90% sun all year long here. I think solar panels might be a good investment. Yeah.
Are you guys getting those
We could go
subsidized
for
programs
cloud
for
panels
solar?
if they do.
We do. There's two ways you can do it. You can do grid fed, and you can do off the grid. And the cheapest way to do it would be through, like, most of the companies will do grid fed, and you can get like discounts through the government and things like that. But then when you actually have it running, it literally whatever power you use during the day that it's generating, it's an offset against what you're taking in through the grid. And so, generally speaking, if you're more clever about what power you're using, like in this room right now, this would be like serious power use.
Well, you don't have too much vintage stuff, so that helps you a little bit.
True. Yeah, except when I plug in that Ensoniq ESQ1. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, with the amount of sun that we've got here, I mean, it literally is very, very good. Although we did have a fairly cloudy winter this year, so I don't know. Be interesting to see what the stats are from some of the people that have had solar panels. But the problem with my house that I've got here, it's 2-story, and it is east-west facing Canberras on the roof, right?
Yeah,
So it means that basically you would have to put panels on both sides, and you would only get 50% of value from them, because you think about how the sun goes over, right? And there's it will literally be blind on one part of the day versus the other after midday.
Yeah, it's funny they have. It's a total different aside, but there are those giant ant and termite mounds in different parts of the world, and there's a one group that actually makes it like a knife blade. So it gets warm from the sun in the morning, and it gets warm from the sun at night before it becomes night. But at the hottest part of the day, it's a knife edge, so it doesn't get baked. So ants are very clever little buggers.
They are.
Ants and termites.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Git, you should come on down to the good old land of Oz. Great place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I know about
For 6 months.
I've been up that part of the world where it's dark, and you have your long winters and that, and you have that problem where it takes you time to adjust to the sleeping routines. I mean, that would just be. I know you guys have been born through that, so it's kind of normal, but you still have to go through it. It's still a pain in the ass. The difference between our summers and winters here is like 20 degrees. So, our winters are a Scottish summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to live somewhere warmer. I'd like to come to Australia, but Jane wouldn't have it. But I'd be up for living somewhere hot.
You're going down a bit, so it's
2 degrees warmer down south.
Yeah,
so
you'll feel it.
That's
2 degrees
is
Slowly getting there. Slowly inching his way over to Australia.
Yeah. I am. Slowly but surely. I'll come knocking on your door. Let me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we at? Oh, okay. Gosh, I nearly forgot. I'm going to show you guys something really cool. Yeah. I thought we were sort of like wrapping up the show, but we don't have to. We can keep synthing on, people. Now, last week I told you about the Expert Sleepers modules that I got in, right? If you don't remember, it's the ES3 and the ES6 that I got in, and I bought them used, blah, blah, blah. They're older versions too, by the way. So what you're seeing here is older stuff, but it still works with the latest gear. Now, what I want to show you is a couple of things. So this is kind of like, this might pique your interest on one side, but it might not on the other, or it might pique your interest on both. So what we've got is a bit of eurorack. Yes, it might not pique your interest there, but on the other side, I'm using an aggregate device in Ableton, but it doesn't matter. You can use it in any DAW. So you might be interested in how I've set up an aggregated device on a Mac. If you've never done that before, that might be a cool thing for you as well. So stay tuned. We're going to go through it. Let's head on over to the camera just over here. Which is the best one I should go with? I think the side view might be the best. Hey, Ian.
Yeah,
sorry,
definitely.
Sorry about the cables, but you're just going to have to bear with me. Okay, so the first module that I've always told you guys about is this one here, the ES8 from Expert Sleepers. Right, I've had that one for ages. It's a great modular eurorack module. By the way, whenever we talk about this stuff, you don't have to get into eurorack. If you want to use these things, you can just buy a pod, like a 4MS pod, and use this with your synths, and it's actually quite a clever thing to do, because some of these are very capable bits of engineering. Like this is a 96K sample rate audio interface, and it's pretty decent, and it's also DC coupled as well. Anyway, without going into sort of any massive details about that, the benefit of this module is that you can use ADAT, so there's 2 ADATs there, or you can use a USB. So it's either USB or ADAT. But there's a hack, and it's not a hack that you have to download software. It's not a hack that you have to do with a soldering iron. It's literally just I've plugged something in, and it shouldn't do this, but it does. Hack. And I don't know if you guys have figured it yet, but these modules here, the ES3, and over here the ES6, right? The ES6 is this one, plugged in via like one of those, ribbon cables, one of these ribbon cables underneath, hidden, you can't see it, into the back of the ES3. So it gets the clock from, you need it for ADAT stuff, right? This is all ADAT stuff here. I've then pulled the ADAT out of these two modules. So this is basically an input module, and this is an output module. And I've then plugged the ADAT into the ES8, and I'm using the USB to connect to the Mac. And it literally has just given me a whole bunch more of connectivity into my setup. It's insane. So let's head over to the Mac and I'll show you. So in the Mac, I've made an aggregate device. I'll actually show you guys how I've done that in a sec, but I just want to show you input config. Have a look at this. 44 inputs. And I think there's more outputs as well, by the way. Well, it's one of them's got more and one of them's got less, and there's a reason for it. I'll tell you about that in a sec. And I've literally only done this in the last couple of days, so I haven't finished labeling everything yet. But you can do some really, really cool stuff with this, right? So, for example, I've got the Boss DD500 pedal hanging over somewhere in my studio through an ADAT connection, right? And I've got it so it's plumbed in and out. So that means I can use it as a send and return. I've got a flanger pedal, which is sitting here in front of me on my desk, which I've got plumbed through. And I've got, I'll go back to the other view. Just over here, you can see it, is the small stone phaser pedal, right? And we have got that plugged in to into here. That's the output, and that's the input there. So I can now pipe anything back through my DAW into that small stone phaser, just like you would with the send and return through a mixer. But this is done digitally, and it's done through your digital channels on your DAW. So let's head back to the Mac, and I'll show you how I've done it. So what's your first, and there's a couple of ways to do this with Ableton, by the way. I think this is the best way, and it's probably the simplest way because it works within our logic how we would think. So in our logic, we would probably go, right, I need to set up a send channel. So over here you do. So we're going to look at the phaser one, right? Because it's my favorite. So there's the phaser, okay, over here. So you set up a send return track like that, just by going insert return track, right? And then it pops up over. Now you're using an external, it's just an external out, and in this particular case, it's the ES3 that I'm accessing. So I'll show you if I bring some sort of sound through, let's do, and we'll use E on this particular sound. And you can see if I go down here, you can see now the phaser's getting sound. Right, let me just mute some of these channels. Right, now I've got the phaser coming back through this channel here. And then, guess what it's doing? Then it's feeding out to the Boss DD500 delay pedal. Isn't that cool? So there's it coming in there, going out to the phaser, and then back in, and feeding itself out. That's just a eurorack module. Now that sound, by the way, if you're wondering where it's coming from, it's coming from here. And I'm using the Expert Sleepers disting to generate a very randomized, it's a Turing sort of machine type sequence. right? Cool. Okay, so what's cool? What else is cool about this? I guess is the fact that you can use this also for CV, which I showed you guys I think it was a week or two ago. We talked about that. So because it's DC coupled, you can send CV. It doesn't have to be audio; it can be both. And so one of these connections can be, one of these connections here, literally can be CV, and the next connection could be audio. It's not like you have to choose. You're literally just through your DAW. You're literally just deciding which one you want. Now, if you're using Ableton, you have to have Ableton Suite, so it's got Max for Live, so that you can use that stuff. But Bitwig and has it by default, and I think there was something else that has it by default. I think the new Logic has it, doesn't it? By default. Anyway, what's another thing I can show you guys? So the flanger pedal, which I had, it's literally just sitting. I don't know if I can't really get it across that much, but there it is there, right? The flanger pedal sitting on my desk. What we could do is we could use a Pro 800 actually. Let's put that, and we'll put that through the flanger. Now the Pro 800, you can see, is literally connected into the ES6 here. So that will then come in through my DAW, and then I can route that to the flanger. So let's go across to the DAW, and I'll show you what I mean. So that's coming in. The Pro 800's coming in. I'll just turn all the sends off of this for a sec, and let's just go over to the DAW, and I'll show you the Pro 800 channel here. So you can see this is a Pro 800 channel here, and if I play a note, have I got this set up? There we go. So that's just it, the raw sound of the Pro 800, right? I know it's a little bit quiet, but that's some of the drawbacks you get with ADAT. And you can boost the signal and stuff. Like for example, if I wanted to, I can, where are we? Click on that channel, and I can put a gain on there. But let's not do it anyway. We don't need to, because by the time I put some effects on this, you'll see what I mean. All right, so which one is the flanger? It is D. You can see over on the right there, D is the flanger up here. Okay. So we're going to use D as our send, and we're going to pump that right up. And oh, you know what? This is actually a really cool thing that I've just picked up on, and I need to show you guys. With Expert Sleeper modules, see how there is a carrier signal coming in here? That is DC offset, right? And you can get rid of that in Ableton with a really, really simple trick. You go into Utilities, chuck the Utilities module on the channel, right? And we'll come down here and I'll show you what you do. You literally scroll down to the bottom, oops, and click on DC. And then, she's all gone. Look at that. Magic. Nice. All right, let's put some noise through it. Now, if the flanger comes through, it's going to come in on this input here, this channel here, right? And what I'll do is it's going off to the delay. So we'll just do it without going off to the delay. So there's the channel that it comes in on, and that's the channel. So that's the Pro 800 there, and that's what it's going to come in on. So what we'll do is we'll keep that one highlighted so you can see the flanger, but just watch the Pro 800 right there, okay? Here we go. Now I'll just hold that note using my sustain pedal. Where's my sustain pedal gone? Hey! There it is. Right, now I will pull that flanger out. Pull it back in. Working just like a mixer, right? Now, if you don't want to have the actual sound of the dry, you can just go sends only. It's a nice analog flanger, that one. Now, the other cool thing about it is because it's coming in on a track, we can record it, right, as a stem. But we can also affect it as well. So I might want to put C, which is my DD500. Hard to believe, guys, but that looks like I'm doing all that through my DAW, but I'm actually doing it through my eurorack modules as well. Isn't that cool? One last thing to show you, but before I do show you, one last thing to show you next is the aggregate device, which we'll go through in a sec. But just before I do, let's have a quick discussion about that. Anyone want to ask questions or talk about it?
I just want to say one thing. ADAT is cool technology.
It is. Yeah.
It's undervalued.
It's been around for ages.
I know.
Like
Donkeys.
90s.
Donkeys. Yeah.
And the thing is...
At least this is forward thinking for sure.
Absolutely. At least it's, hats off to them.
Yeah.
The first time I ever used ADAT was when I bought my MPC 1000. Which was early 2000s. So I've been using ADAT since the early 2000s, and you could probably go back, further. But
the 90s.
The cool thing about it is that with my setup here, I have to use ADAT because I've got an RME DigiFace interface. That's my main interface for everything. But I chose to do that because I wanted to reduce ground loop noise and issues with that sort of stuff with my audio here, and I don't have any issues with any ground loop noise or anything like that because all the audio connections are through fiber optic. There's no RF or ground loop noise going across that. So there are a couple of other options, not just ADAT. You can, I think Dante's one, AVB, I think it's called, is another. So there are a few other digital formats that are out there, but I think ADAT is, because it's so, the licensing and all that sort of stuff is really kind of inexpensive. It's cheap to get cables. Have you guys heard of that website Temu? I mean, it's just so crazy cheap. I've literally just bought some crap on there the other day for literally nothing. And I bought some light pipe cables on there. What was the other thing I was going to show you guys? Aggregate devices. So audio and MIDI setup in the Mac. If you haven't ever used this thing before, now you're going to learn something real quick. This is a cool thing. So in the Mac, audio MIDI setup, if you're wondering where it is, it's in your applications folder under utilities there. And there it is there, audio MIDI setup. Okay. But easiest way to do it is just use Spotlight and type it in there. Okay. Now, DigiFace is the name of my main audio interface that I've got here, and the ES8 is the other one. So what I've done is I've just literally just gone add create aggregate device, right? It's really not that hard. You just do that, and then you just select, when you're doing it, you literally just select what USB or digital devices you've got, and you do it in the order that you want them to show first. So you make sure this is important. So if you want your DigiFace to show first, you have to select that first, and then you've got drift correction and things like that. Let's not do that now anyway. But so in here is the one that I created before, which is literally the ES8 and the DigiFace together. And that's how I'm getting so many inputs and outputs. Look at that. Look at all of them. That's the inputs there and the outputs. 50, what have I got? 50 outputs. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. With the DigiFace, you can have 4 ADAT devices, so 4 times 8 going in at 48K. If you want to have 96K, you can, and I think you divide it by 2 to get 96K, so you're halving your in an IO. And the ES8 has all of these as well. Now, notice with the ES8, this is the kind of thing that I thought was really, really cool. So do you remember how I said there was a bit of a hack with the ES8? So I was showing you before, you put the ADAT into the module here and it uses USB. So what's interesting is it's all digital, right? The whole thing's digital. So don't sort of pay attention to the word analog, what you're about to see. But what the Mac is seeing is kind of weird. It's saying, can you see that? It's saying that some of the connections here are analog, right? And then if you keep going across, then it says they're ADAT. Now, all that means is that when it's reporting this to your operating system, so it would probably be the same in Windows too, right? Have we got lag on the YouTube, have we?
This looks like it.
Let me just do a refresh.
No, he was just asking whether you're getting any lag in your setup here you're demonstrating.
Oh, okay. There's no
is that
lag
what
on
it
the
is?
channel.
All
Okay,
right.
cool. Good. There will be. I'll talk about lag and stuff later. It's actually really, really easy to fix, by the way. Anyway, so you can see all the these are the outputs, these are the inputs here, right? So this is what your aggregate device will give you, and this, by the way, this really doesn't help anything, but this is where you would set your sample rate. Now I'm setting mine to 90. That's a 48K, right? So that has to be the same as what you've got in your DAW there. No, it does not do 192. I don't know why that option's there. It's kind of probably just a default thing in the Mac. It's not reading, I don't think, what the capabilities are of your devices in there. So that 48K that I've selected in there has to marry up with this one. Come on, where are you? That sample rate there. So it has to be the same. I mean, you can muck around with all these other settings, the input latency. So there's your answer to your question. This is what it's seeing as latency, input and output latency. Now, aggregate devices will always have worse latency than just if you're just using a single device. They will always be worse. And the reason for it is it's kind of got to handle the two different connections at the same time. So it's doing a bit of
It's a double round trip.
it's like a
round trip.
multiplexy sort of bit of software. It's multiplexing basically. So I'm getting an overall latency of 27.6 milliseconds, which is pretty bad, right? It's pretty bad. Some people would absolutely hate that, okay? But a DAW will do latency compensation. A good modern DAW will handle that for you. So you don't even have to touch this stuff, which means that as you're recording, all your channels will all literally sync up. Then there won't be any issues at all. Okay? So, and if you don't like latency, then don't do aggregate devices. Just go straight to a single interface. But the whole purpose of this exercise here is I'm getting funky with, putting one module into the other via light pipe and then getting that to go into my DAW via USB.
Yeah, using combinations that you wouldn't normally think of using.
Yeah. Now, a couple of caveats to this. I'm running an M1 Mac Mini. This is probably the bottom spec Mac that you can get on the market at the moment. They probably don't even make M1 Mac Minis anymore. I've noticed that Ableton's crashed a few times, but I did also notice that Ableton updated yesterday. There was an update for it. So, and it hasn't crashed since. So I don't know whether the crashes have been because of the aggregate device or if it's because of the Mac update. Excuse me. But what I will say is if you do something like, if you've got, I probably might be able to get it to crash on you guys to see if this works. Where's my different view? That's not going to be a good view. Yeah, I can use that view and then I'll use the PDZ. Just give me a sec. I'm just going to get the PDZ to go across here. Okay. Right. So over on this view, what I'll do is I'll literally power off this whole rack here. If I power off this rack, that means that one of those aggregate devices will disappear and it probably will crash Ableton. Should we try it? Let's see if we can crash Ableton. All right. How can I do this so that you guys can see me doing it at the same time? What if I put it up in the corner there? Ah, but it moved. Why would you move like that? Stupid camera. Go back. Okay, you can see my hand there. Right, so up the top right-hand corner, you'll see me turn it off. Ready, set. Yay! It worked!
Wow. Ouch.
Yep.
Showing.
There you go. Look at that. Crash report. Whee! Now, so these are the caveats that you've got to work with. You're mucking around with kind of, we're on the edge here. We're cutting edge, kind of bleeding edge stuff.
It's alchemy.
Yeah. But I'll turn it back on again. It's all good. You turn it back on. You can make sure you save your work as you're going. People
Press record now. It's going to be, and make sure you save your work.
From my point of view, if I was to use this in a more sort of professional sort of situation, I probably wouldn't do this. But I know what causes it to crash now, right? So it probably doesn't worry me. I'm sorry, Andy, I just had that picture over your face there. So maybe that's the only thing that's causing it to crash. I'm thinking that probably is, in which case, don't turn your rack off when you've got your DAW on. It might be okay. There's a few questions coming through on chat, so let's see if we can get those. What OS am I running? Okay. I never remember this crap. Ventura 13.4.
Yeah, that's the one before.
I don't even speak back.
Yep. I answered the lag question, and then that's it. Now, if you want me to answer a question, flag my name, like what you saw Mac do just then, because it just really helps me trying to find stuff in the wall of. I haven't upgraded to the next Mac OS yet, because if I do, I'm going to miss out on something really, really important that I use on this particular computer that I use to record on. So that's why I'm still running Ventura. And yeah, I hate Ventura.
Really? Because I've just updated to Ventura. I always stay one behind. At least one behind.
I generally don't really care. Because I'm running the M1 and I feel that the development has been pretty good from Apple.
You can always use
in the old days when I ran an Intel Mac, I would have agreed with you, Ian. You know, I stayed on Snow Leopard for years, like on an Intel Mac.
You see, I stay more than one. I'm still on
you say 400 versions back, Darren.
Well, no, I should have updated to Mojave a bit ages ago, but I've got
OS 10 was the best. Yeah, not 13.
I don't know what my laptop's on something pretty old, but I'm not upgrading that at all. It's 8-year-old laptops now.
The Mac that I've got running the StreamYard connections is an Intel laptop. It's a MacBook Pro. I actually love that laptop. It was probably one of the last ones that they made. It's got that OLED touch strip across the top of the keyboard.
Yeah, I never liked that. You see, I didn't buy that.
That.
I bought the one. I'm still on El Capitan on my laptop.
Yep.
Yeah, well, on Sierra, because I have a bug on the Safari because it doesn't want to load after stuff now for some reason.
Yeah,
that's certain websites.
Yeah.
But
anyway, with that sort of connectivity stuff, like this was done through Eurorack, but you probably could do some funky stuff with, I don't know, say you had a Focusrite audio interface which had ADAT in the back, right? I've got the thing that actually runs this show, by the way, is a Presonus Studio 192, and it's I run it through the Windows computer, and it has ADAT in the back. So that's how I get the sound out of my Mac into my Windows computer. I'm not using it as an analog input. I'm using it as an ADAT input, and that way I don't get any noise or anything coming through. And the cool thing about it, the mic, by the way, is straight into that Presonus audio interface. But you can do funky things like you can have Macs going into Windows without issues with, ground loop noise and stuff like that if you're using ADAT. So And a lot of audio interfaces now ship with an in and out. So you're going to get at least 8 inputs and 8 outputs on top of what your interface can do. And a good example of that was the Audio Fuse that Arturia brought out, the first one. And even their subsequent ones now are even, they're quite cheap. Audio Fuse have got ADAT built into them. So you could do it that way. Or you could do the Focusrite stuff. I'm a big fan of the Focusrite ADAT stuff. It's quite cheap and it's a lot better quality than the Behringer stuff. Behringer stuff, I use an 88 8200. I've got 3 of them in here and they bleed between each channels. So it's, it's something that I have to
sounds like it's, which is on the analog side, not the digital side.
Yeah. So it's something I have to live with.
That's odd.
Yeah, let me see if I can show you guys. Not really going to show it there. Where can I see it? If I do... let me just mute these so you can't hear it. How can you still hear that? Okay, it's coming through there. Right, one sec. If I go into my RME... Okay, here we go. This is really cool to show you. So this is what I mean by bleeding. Now, this is something you can't hear audio-wise, but can you see on the total mix? Can you see all of those channels responding?
Yeah, I think I've seen that even on my little Focusrite mixer, if you set the meters to really, 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 really sensitive.
So it's very, very minimal, right?
Oh,
but
yes.
That's an 88 8200 that you're seeing. That's the Behringer 88 8200.
It's bleeding all the way across.
It's bleeding across all 8. Yeah.
Not just adjacent channels, it's like all channels.
Yeah. It may even be analog. I mean, if I went and popped up the pre's on it, who knows? But yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's probably why I'm not a massive fan of the 8200s, though. But I mean, seriously, they're like $300 Australian, £150. If you're sort of, when you're recording, if you're sort of stemming each channel separately, individually, it doesn't make any difference, because when you're recording a channel, that sound that you're seeing on the V, it's not coming through. It's kind of weird. It's almost like a DC offset thing, but it's not coming through. You can't hear it unless you. I think if you preamped it right up, you probably could hear it. I'm not sure. Yeah. I haven't really kind of tested it any sort of scientifically though, to be honest. But I just thought it was disappointing. I know with the Focusrite, they don't do it. So, for me, my next kind of heavy lifting would probably be go with Motu or Focusrite sort of setup here. Because I don't think Presonus do that stuff anymore. I'm not sure if they're still around. They got bought out by someone, didn't they? Andy, who did Presonus get bought out by? Your neck of the woods, right? They're in San Fran, aren't they, Presonus?
I used to know, but I forgot. Don't remember. I have some of their old gear though.
Half God Half Beat says, I brought an 1820 Behringer interface with the ADAT extension, but it had no word clock output on the interface, and I've not used the expander yet. Would this be a problem? No, it won't, because you can just use the internal clock on the interface itself, and then you set the ADAT to slave or master, depending on how you want to do it. There's a switch on the back of it that you'd be able to set, or maybe it's in the software in your particular case. But on my 88 8200s, there's a physical switch, whether you're setting it to master or slave. Do you remember how I was showing you before with those expert sleeping modules, right? And I was saying how this one here, the ES6, is connected to the next one, the ES3, through a ribbon cable like this, right? Underneath. The only reason why it needs that connection, it's got a separate power cable, everything, right? The only reason why it needs that is to get the word clock sync. That's why it needs it. So word clock is pretty important with ADAT. That's kind of how it works. So there's conversations about Mac operating systems and ADAT and Presonus and interesting. The OctiPre stuff from Focusrite is really, really good. That it's not like you can get, RME do. If I had the money, I'd probably get RME gear because they do ADAT stuff at like the rack level stuff, and it's really, really good. But I just can't justify spending that sort of money. If I'm making $100 a year on an album, I'm not at that level.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what I've got here is well and truly sufficient for what I need. But yeah, it was just more sort of inspiration for you guys to play with your gear and see what you wanted to do with it. Interesting to see what people are thinking about with their Mac operating system upgrades. Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that. I don't have any Macs. He says smugly.
Well, I could technically just run everything on this Windows PC here, but
Probably wouldn't want to.
Because I work in IT, I have the beauty of like not having to do that. So, I have to keep, from a professional point of view, I have to keep myself abreast with both operating systems on a daily basis, and the best thing I can ever do is use them constantly, so that when people come to me and say they've got problems with this, that, and the other, I don't feel like oh my god, how do I use that again? Because I remember the first time I ever used a Mac, and I'm not talking about like in the 80s when we had Apple IIs at school and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
a modern Mac.
A modern Mac, OS, probably OS 10 onwards, right? I'd been away from Mac for a long time. This was, at least 20 years. And then I touched it and I thought, wow, this is kind of really weird. It actually reminded me of probably more of a Unix operating system than anything at the time, to be fair. And at the time, there was a lot of people saying to me, oh, only the graphic artists and, people who are doing multimedia, they're the ones that use them now. I'm like, no, they're not. Like, there's heaps of people using them. So I forced myself to go back into using a Mac. And then it was about the same time I actually started to get back into my music gear as well. So it coincided that I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to put a lot of music people use Macs, so I'm just going to force myself to go back through that route. And I put Ableton on there, and it worked flawlessly, even though you could put Ableton on Windows. And that was, the rest is history. If I didn't do that, I probably would be like not even touching a Mac. I'd probably be sitting on Windows all day long.
Yeah, it's like I made a conscious decision to move from Mac because in education, we used PCs all the time when I was at the university. And I was on PC for years. But I think it was before, it was probably Vista, I think, when I moved. I got sick of the forced updates. Really,
it's still
Windows.
It's still a problem.
Yeah,
it's still a problem. The frequency of Windows updates is still an absolute monster.
And the constant driver issues.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was always that. Yeah. The As You All for All was
Azure for All. Yep.
Yeah. Remember that?
That thing's terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible, but it was the best of a bad bunch, really. So I wasn't, and I don't regret the Apple tax to some extent, because the amount of times that I change my computers, yes, you pay up front for Apple, but they last longer. I mean, the last laptop I bought, which was when we had the shop, was a Windows 10 laptop. 2 years down the road, it was trash, really.
Okay.
And it wasn't it's just used on a counter doing simple stuff. It wasn't even doing anything complex,
This PC that's running the show is quite old. It's like it's got a GeForce 1080 graphics card in it.
I've got one. I've I still have a PC next door.
5000 series, aren't they? 5080s, right?
I don't know.
I think they're the latest ones now. 4080s are probably still more common, but the latest ones are 5080s.
I switch my PC on every so often just to spin the drives up.
Yeah.
Really.
But it's still, like, honestly, it's still completely fine. It's got M.2 drives in it. The main boot drive is an M.2 drive. It's quick as. It's got 64 gig of RAM. I think I might have even upgraded it. It might have even more now. It's plenty. And I look at, like, my son works in a computer shop part time because he goes to uni, but he's like feeding me information all the time about what the latest products are. And like we sit there and we go, there's no point in upgrading because I might get 1% more performance out of the latest computer than what I have in this. And I've spent $5,000 updating it just to get that 1%, In some cases, there's massive, huge improvements, right? But when you talk about, I think with Intel, with the Pentium processor, right? Let's call it as it is. The i86, right? The Pentium processor, the Core, whatever you've got, Core i3, Core i5, Core i7, Core i9. They're basically a Pentium processor, right? The architecture hasn't really changed massively for a long time. It's interesting. It'd be interesting to see where Intel goes, but if you take that as a consideration and then you think how much money they've squeezed out of that design and just tweaked a bit here, tweaked a bit there, get a little bit more nanometers on the die, when they're making the CPU, Silicon Valley stuff, Andy, right? When they're doing that sort of stuff, they are literally making millions and billions of dollars each time they bring a new CPU out because all the people in IT are like, oh, you got to get the latest,
Yeah, I hate that obsessive kind of.
Have we really progressed massively? Like, I look at this PC that I've got here. It's you guys can talk in a sec. I'll get the specs up of what the CPU is, and you can tell me literally how much more would I improve if I was to buy a new PC, and how much would I spend on that? What I do? System information, is that it? Yeah, system information. It's a Intel Core i7 7820 3.6 gigahertz.
You're muted, Andy.
Oh, sorry. I would say if you run the apps from the time, it doesn't matter. It's just as fast as it ever was, right?
Yeah.
It's the giant, huge, crazy apps that slow your machine down.
The bloatware.
And the monolithic operating systems that get massive. Like Vista was actually a great name for a horrible operating system.
It was terrible.
A view on the future of Microsoft and all the crap coming down the road.
Yeah. I used to love NT. Remember NT? Windows NT was great.
Oh, yeah.
NT4 was a pain from an IT point of view to get things to work. Yeah. But Windows 2000 was pretty good.
Yeah.
NT with a nice front end.
Yeah.
I think the one next door is still running Windows 7.
You had two kernels with Windows.
Yeah.
You had the NT/2000, and then you had the 95, 98, and I think ME. I think was the last one that they did.
Oh, ME was terrible.
And so
ME laptop.
It was XP that brought the two together, right?
Yeah.
ME was a cash grab. It was bullshit.
Yeah. ME was not ME.
Yeah. My PC's at Windows 7.
Yeah,
XP was really good, and 7 made
was
some
right.
XP was good.
So yeah.
I'm running Windows 10 here, and I know Windows 11's been out for ages, but I don't want to upgrade to Windows 11 because of what a lot of people have been telling me. It's
well, and even if you don't, Windows 10 has those sporadic updates that blow your computer up. I mean, I've had my computer literally die several times just from Windows updates because they don't vet anything anymore.
I remember when we first started doing these shows, Darren, we were like, we were using OBS Studio and Windows would update, right? And it was like an automatic update. You just wake up the next morning and says, and you've got this blue screen on your desktop, and it's saying, "Thank you for updating Windows. Please go for these questions when we reconfigure your." And I'm like, I didn't ask you to. And then I'd be like trying to get ready for the show, and everything would break. Everything
Yeah.
would just break.
We used to literally walk into the
Nothing's
shop
working,
in the morning and have to you switch it on and then it goes through the update. So for the whole morning we wouldn't be able to use the computer.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know.
It's
I mean,
still
you can
a
hack your
problem.
registry to prevent some of those automatic updates, but at some point you do have to update them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh mate, I used to work on
doing ARM as well now, aren't they? Starting to try and work into the ARM architecture.
Well, to what I understand is that they've been slowly putting a Linux kernel into their, into their code, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories as to why Microsoft are doing this, but from a computer science point of view, I think it's probably more to do with compatibility with chipsets than anything. To me, that would be the most sensible reason why they'd want to do it. So a Unix or a Linux kernel is going to be able to compile on a lot more chipsets than what a Windows kernel is going to be able to compile on, because it's mainly Intel, right? So, that's one of the reasons why Mac went, to ARM, because I mean, what's part of Mac is BSD, right? Part of it is BSD, when it got its roots from. So it's kind of a Unix / fork operating system called BSD. So it was always able to run on different chipsets from the get-go. I think they had Motorola chipsets that were running on, right? Originally.
Yeah, I had Motorola, yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of makes sense to me.
And then they had the two big changes, didn't they, Matt? They went from when they made the jump to Intel, but Intel promised them a certain speed and certain, to make it smaller and thinner, because that's the way they were going. And that's the way they ended up deciding to go their own way and go ARM. And dump Intel because they weren't meeting what they said they was going to meet, because it just kept basically ramping the power up to try and get the speed they wanted. Yeah. And then it was cooking everything.
It's funny that they're ARM now, because the original Newton was an ARM chipset.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've gone from ARM to Intel back to ARM.
Yeah.
Swings and roundabouts.
But the thing with ARM is that if you were to compare like ARM, the UK company ARM versus Intel, right? And like, why is everyone jumping ship to ARM? The reason is, very basically, is because Intel will be very rigid about what they're allowing and what they're not allowing their platform to do, their CPU platform, right? Whereas ARM have been very flexible. They've said, look, what do you guys want? Like, do you want if we integrate graphics into this, let's do it the way you want it, not the way we're going to force it down your throat. Do you remember that Intel integrated graphics was like the most rubbish thing they ever did, right?
Horrible. Yeah.
I think Intel are starting to realize that they probably made a few mistakes in the last 10, 20 years. But yeah. But I think the biggest issue is that, and they're saying it in the chat right now, is that the ARM chips run cooler, right? And the Intel chips run hotter. They use more power, so they chew more battery. So that is probably going to be where you get your bang for your buck from. They can make devices that will run on batteries longer, they stay cooler, and there's a fairly decent amount of power that they get out of them. And the reason why they know that is because they've been running mobile phones on these platforms for 20 years. Yeah.
Do you remember the AMD Athlon chips that were like super, super hot running? And you would have an issue where the heat sink would just come off a little bit and they would burn up.
Yeah. They would catch on fire.
Yes.
We had this guy once, and we wanted to see how quickly it would catch on fire. So we literally pulled off the heat sink, and we had this AMD Athlon computer sitting there, and we booted it up. And it booted into Windows. Everything was working fine for a couple of minutes, and then literally, the system shut down, and then it just everything just went buckled, and like it didn't catch on fire though, but it was just literally the whole motherboard just buckled and
melted.
Wow. Yeah. It got really hot.
Well, wasn't the MacBook Air, the very, very first gen MacBook Air, was what took them over the edge and said they was going to go a different way, because they wanted to make, because Apple was always about making things thinner, smaller, lighter, faster, and then they had to tone the chip down that much because it cooked everything. to make it as thin as possible, and it was so slow. And they went,
what was that? There was that Intel platform that was that blade platform. What was it called? I have a memory blank now. They used it, right? But it was rubbish because because basically what it was an Intel CPU, but it was scaled back so that it wouldn't use as much power, so it would save battery and it wouldn't generate as much heat. But it's still way more heat generated from that than it was from the opposite sort of thing. So
well, I used to overclock Celeron chips because they're a lot cheaper, and I got them to last a whole year. They just burn up.
So I've never been able to prove this, but Celerons are basically were they actually really like the same chip?
It was like a crippled P3.
Yeah,
it was like. They're smaller though. They were smaller and they were a hell of a lot cheaper. So the cool thing is when they finally burned up and P3s dropped in price, I just popped a real P3 in because they were cheap then.
Yeah.
But for a while I had they call them celeries back then.
Celeries, yeah. We did, yeah.
And they're great for games. I'm overclocking for games and they ran awesome. So
back in the day when everyone had a workstation and it was standalone and none of this, integrated thin client crap that's around today. But we used to roll out Celeron machines to end users that worked in offices because the bosses would be like, they're not allowed to do anything special on this. All they need to do is open Word, Excel, and maybe their email, and that's it. And a Celeron was completely capable of doing that.
Perfectly fine. Yeah.
And all the users hated it. And I'm like,
which group policy, they can't do anything anyway. So,
Yeah.
So
wow. It's interesting, like most of us who love synth, we love our computers. Look at all the chatties, they're all into it. Yeah. We all love our computer chat. Yeah. Don't worry about it. We should probably talk more about computer stuff. I know
when you think about it, it's the basis of everything we're doing. Even
it
is. Just talking about synths,
we
need a computer to do
all the new synths are computers anyway, right? So
yeah.
Well, except for that KAOSS
computers in them. We use computers to design them, even. So
the Korg KAOSS has forgot to put a computer in it.
I think there's got a Commodore 64 in it. They found a factory with Commodore 64s left. I mean, come on, One FX. What are you doing, Korg? Seriously, One FX.
Yeah.
What year are we?
They hired a programmer that only knew how to work in a single concurrency
wrote it in
programming language.
Wrote it in procedural language.
Didn't know how to begin a thread or stop a thread or synchronize.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't watched the loop pop thing. I heard that since it is based on clip launching mostly, they don't really have tunable pads, right? You can't easily tune the pads.
No,
is that right?
he had a workaround.
There was no chromatic.
There's a workaround for that. Okay.
Yeah, he did a workaround. Basically.
But isn't that stupid? You have to have a workaround. That's so stupid.
Oh no, what he did is he just uploaded samples that were different pitches.
Yeah. That's so.
That's
crazy.
not a workaround. That's just like.
Let's go back to the 90s.
Yeah, no, you're right. Actually, it is.
Yeah.
It's like loading a sound font.
Yeah. No.
Different sample for each key.
It's literally cruising towards being probably the most ridiculously overpriced and underachieved product this year. I think that Korg KAOSS replay. And Korg, if you're watching this and you're getting upset about it, talk to me, and I'll give you a whole bunch of reasons what you did wrong with that product.
What you did?
I'll give you a whole bunch of reasons.
The list.
They do some amazing firmware things.
I won't be able to take it.
Yeah, maybe they should talk to their dealers. Ask them what they think. There was a time when they used to do that. We used to have a conversation. I mean, I was always pretty, I would talk to my area manager about things that I thought were great and things that I thought were pretty much rubbish, and they would feed that back. They need
Sometimes
to go back to doing that.
Well, you see, picture this, Ian. That they used to listen to like your dealers. Imagine they're all sat around the table and they go, "Ian's just sending in as a review on the new Korg KAOSS pad." And they sit there. The screen comes up, and they all sit there looking blank.
That happened. That did happen. There was when I did the review of the Minilog bass, they literally sat round, not only in your in Korg UK, but Korg America were involved, and my area manager at the time, he had a really hard time. So much so that I apologised to him because it wasn't down to him, it was down to me, you know. And Korg USA at the time said, as a dealer, I should toe the line and I should be always positive about the product. I'm sorry, stuff that. You know, I'll be honest. If I think it's great, I'll say it's great. If you think it's rubbish, I'll say it's rubbish. You know.
And you got to drink that Kool-Aid.
I mean, that
Gotta drink the Kool-Aid, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, you know. But
I think if
hey,
anyone,
that's all in the past. That's
Ian,
all
if
in
any,
the past.
and I think you did the right thing, mate. But if anyone ever told me that I had to toe the line with, I would literally just be like, okay, then you can take your line and you can let it, disappear out the door.
And then from then on, all your reviews are negative about this stuff.
Well, I just stopped doing. I mean, I don't think I've done a
Become
Korg
salty.
review since that. Actually. I mean, I haven't done a Korg review since that. I don't think.
Yeah.
You know, I made a decision not to do that. You know,
KorgSaltyReviews.com.
because I'm not gonna. You know. Yeah, Korg Salty Reviews. Yeah. You know, so I think that is really good. I think that's brilliant.
I agree.
And there's lots of other things I think are really good.
And I think a lot of the stuff that Tats made was awesome. I mean, you know, one of my
favorite synths, definitely,
one of my favorite synths is the Minilog. It's a really, really good synthesizer.
I like the Minilog. The original Minilog. I like the XD actually. I almost wish I never sold it. I had to sell it as X demo because somebody was desperate for one, and so I sold him mine and told him it was X demo, which it really was. You know, but. No, I thought it was great.
I got rid of all my Volkers, but I actually really liked them. It's just that I wasn't using them. But I think the Volkers were awesome as well. They were a great product line.
Yeah. I really like the Monologue, and I've bought myself a Monologue.
I've got Monologue, and I still kept it.
Yeah, and I haven't unboxed it yet because I'm actually going to leave it till Christmas. I'm going to give it to myself for Christmas. But I bought myself a Monologue. Yeah. I always have a synth at Christmas.
And the little, and that little QS10.
I've got
great.
I've got one of them as well.
There's a little secret there.
That's mine.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
very cute.
There we go.
That's a good core product.
SQ64.
That is a really
SQ10,
good core product.
SQ1.
That's a real pain to master all the chord stuff on there. All the special
SQ1. Yeah,
I don't think so.
I think
it's really quite good.
I didn't want, because some people said it was quite difficult to work with the SQ64. I've never used one, so
nah, I don't find it hard at all.
Yeah, but I don't. To be fair, I
all
don't
the time.
need
It's
it.
fine, but if you'll forget if you.
With with me though, I've got an Electribe background, so I've used Electribe since the late 90s, and there's a bit of Electribe-esque, you know, user sort of. It's not purely Electribe, but it kind of has Electribe sort of logic to it. Would be how I'd say it. So for me, it was a no-brainer, and I feel like the way the buttons light up and the way they're labeled and everything, I think it's pretty user intuitive. I don't even think, to be honest, I think when I first got it, I don't even think I looked at the manual. So most of the stuff that I got going on that was pretty much straight away by just reading what's on the panel, what the writing was and what things do. It was pretty intuitive that way. There are some menu divey things that you can do on it which are kind of funky in that, and you can get sort of cool stuff out of that. And that side of it's probably a little bit annoying, but I thought, SQ64. And the cool thing about it, like, I think I've shown this before, but
I mean, it was definitely worth $200. So.
Yeah.
Its competitor is the BeatStep, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how.
It's so much smaller.
Sorry, it's a bit.
Just really
this stuff's
slim.
a bit dusty. How do I show this? Yeah. There's the difference in size. It's hard to sort of show you, right? So it's a little bit smaller, but it's actually, in a way, the back of it, the way you've got all the little 3.5mm connections on the back. To me, that's like nearly 90% of the back of this is just 3.5 millimeter connections. Whereas this thing has got like a bit of real estate before you get to the connections on it, if you can see what I mean.
But you have proper pads and you can drum with it. That's the difference.
Well, yeah, but yeah.
Can't drum with the SQ64.
And if you need to pack it up for an EMOM, you don't have 128
exactly, Half Biscuit was just asking about my toy in the chat. My little... So this is... So it's got its mono, it's got a jack, and it's just got a rotary pot that actually speeds up and slows down. But stick it through a reverb, it's absolutely amazing.
Does it play
proper circuit bending? That's great.
Yes, he does. Not only does that, he actually mentions the trains as well. So you've got Thomas and Gordon and all the. It's fantastic.
Sample pack.
Yeah, well, actually, they should do at some point. Actually, when I get moved, I will do a sample pack. I will give it to the community.
Yes, it is USB micro.
Cable.
Yes, it is. Yes, which sucks. It is USB micro. I've heard something. One manufacturer told me. I think it might have been the Retro Kits guy told me this. So the guys that get licensing for USB-C, I don't know who it is, right? Some company gets a license fee for USB-C. There's 2 different licenses for it, I believe. If you use USB-C purely for power and power only, it's almost non-existent. They just let you use it. But if you're using it for anything other than that, if it's data, digital related, you have to pay a licensing fee. And a lot of manufacturers are staying away from it because they think, well, why? I might as well just use USB micro. It's free. We can just literally just solder it on there and we don't have to tell anyone about it. And that's the reason why. It frustrates us because it's a crappy format, but it's to do with cost, to make your cost technically cheaper.
Licensing cost,
Yeah. It was a bit like HDMI in the old days. HDMI used to cost a fortune, and now it's like, virtually non-existent. It's cheap as anything now.
That reminds me. I got caught out this week on the difference between micro HDMI and mini HDMI. Fortunately, I didn't spend any money, so I didn't lose any money.
It was the 3 little bears, right?
I thought, oh, good, I've got the... it was the Raspberry. It was the Raspberry Pi, and I was trying to use the same connector I'm using for my GoPro Hero 5, but one's mini and the other one's micro. So
I have a point and shoot camera had mini HDMI in it, which is weird.
Yeah, this camera here is mini, and I've got an adapter for micro on another one. I think it might be that one there. There's a camera right there that's micro. So literally, like throughout this whole studio, there's normal HDMI, micro HDMI, mini HDMI. Does your head in. Anyway, we're gonna have to wrap it up because it's
hey, real quick, Ian, where'd you get that Thomas the Tank thing?
15 quid on eBay. Nobody else bid. It was an auction, and nobody bid on it.
Oh, okay.
But he's a guy. I think he's a guy. And he just sell them. I think he's got a website, and he just does this sort of stuff. I think he actually did the guitar thing that I've got as well.
Oh wow, okay.
But
they're asking in the chat why not mini USBs as opposed to micro USB. The reason for it is, I believe it's because of the actual when you actually put it on a circuit board, it sits up very, very high. So it's probably more to do with the engineering. In some cases, if your device is quite high off the deck, then it's not going to be a problem. But things like these SQ64s, these are really thin, right? You aren't going to get a mini USB. You might be able to like in terms of measurements, right? But you're not going to get it on your circuit board. Yeah,
you can't get the chassis to fit. At the same time, you have to make cutouts in the chassis, and that's extra manufacturing cost, and it's just not a good.
Now, just as a parting comment before we finish, I took apart my key step. I told you about this a while ago, right? And I wanted you guys to. I put it on the show as a thumbnail just to sort of remind you guys. Now, the reason why I showed that is because when I had it apart, one of my thoughts was that I was going to, instead of making my mini Dext in a little box, I was actually going to make it and incorporate that LCD screen and put it inside a key step, literally integrate it inside a key step. Now, I probably could do it with the Raspberry Pi Zero version, probably, but I just want you guys to know, if you grab a key step and you pull these little suckers apart, right, and you think to yourself, on the back, sort of not on the back, but on the top across that side there, where there's literally just flat plastic and a logo, behind that is literally all that connectivity stuff, so all the electronics behind there, so there's literally no space in there at all. There is probably a couple of little tiny nooks and crannies. I think far right hand corner there might be some spots over here. It's pretty sandwiched in there. I was actually quite surprised, actually. I thought there'd be a bit more space in there than what there was, but there's hardly any space in there. So, and the same thing I did with, there was a Korg, tiny little Korg keyboard controller USB one that I've got sitting around somewhere.
Yeah.
And
what about your swing? You have a swing, right?
I've got a swing.
Yeah.
Pull that apart, yeah.
Yeah, you can scrape off the bearings and them for a start, surely.
So, yeah. We could pull that one apart, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, throw that one in the bin soon. Yeah, but anyway, I guess the point was with well, they're not, I don't have any sort of agreement with them.
Put it in a skip.
No.
Where's that photo gone? Oh, I don't worry about the photo. The photo was on this. Right, there it is there. When I pulled it apart because I was cleaning the contacts on the key step. Now, if anyone ever has a key step and some of the keys don't work, don't chuck your key step in the bin. It's literally a 15-minute job. It's really not that hard. You can do it, and all you need is some Q-tips or cotton tips, whatever you want to call them. These things,
Q-tips,
right?
yeah.
And cotton swabs,
isopropyl alcohol, and a screwdriver. And just if you're worried about bits flying around, have a little glass dish next to you for your screws to pop into, and then 15 minutes. Literally, it's really not that hard. Probably next time I do it, it's probably even 5 minutes. That absolutely looks like a nightmare, like that, but it isn't really that bad. Sorry about the music on the background. It's just that
you should do a video on it, Rant, just to make sure that people can...
They just easily lift out.
There are quite a few.
Just rock them and they lift out.
Are they? All right.
Yeah, so
there are quite a few on YouTube.
All you need to do, I don't need to do one. There's plenty. You do need a pair of pliers to get the springs off the back of each of the keys, right?
Yeah.
But one pro tip: when you're putting it back together, put the black keys on first. Okay. Put all the black keys on first, and then all your white keys will fit in beautifully around it. Because if you put the white keys on and you forget to put a black key on, you got to pull the white key back off again, and so you're putting the spring on and going, the spring off
order
again.
of operation, reverse order of dismantlement.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna end it now, people. Enjoy the rest of your Saturdays, and don't
Sleep
forget to press record. Be nice to your mum, all that sort of stuff.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, all.
Bye.
Enjoy. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.